Let's race!
All right. Let's go.
Let's eat. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts indeed. How's it going, movie fans? My name is Jonathan, and I am a man of movies. And today, the Cinema Squad come to you live to talk about the very best that 2023 has had to offer. And we'll be getting into our own personal list, but this is a united front, guys. When we all got together, we made a solid five for TV and for movies. So it won't be just us individually naming our favorites. We had to come together. It was hard, but I'm happy to be here live with my brothers in arms. Let's bring them in. I'm going to start with the metaphorical voice of the Cinema Squad. All the pretty glitz and glamour that you see wouldn't be able to have been done if not for this man here, Mr. Anthony from Fever Dreamland Theater. What is up, my friend?
How you doing, bro? Oh my God, I'm freaking happy as hell to be here.
Well, I'm happy you're here, man. I know, in the chat, we weren't even sure if you were going to make it on today. So we're happy that you're here. We can talk some film.
Nah, man, I'm happy to be here. I think we ended up with some, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I think we have some some solid picks. There was some kicking. There was some screaming.
It was.
In the end, some crying.
And
some
crying.
laughing,
And some pain.
some other stuff. But we made
it. Anthony, too much details. This ain't the shooting the you-know-what, man. Anthony, quickly, before I introduce more of our brothers, 2023. In film and TV, hit or miss quickly.
Oh God, it's been hit and miss. That's for sure.
That's true.
We're floating in the middle right now, but I'm still optimistic.
We have to be, as film fans. We have to be, or we'll go crazy. I talk about you being the metaphorical voice of the Cinema Squad. Let's bring in somebody that made that amazing intro that we saw. Mr. Dan. Dan, what's up? Clean shaven. Oh, first off, Dan, I feel like you're too cool to be here right now, hanging out with celebrities and everything. If you guys don't know, go on Dan's Instagram, The Upside Dan. He's over here meeting celebrities from Harry Potter and from Guardians of the Galaxy. What's up, dude?
Nothing much. Yeah, no, it's been an awesome couple days. So nice to meet, these celebrities. But yeah, no, I'm really happy to be here, though. I'm very excited to reveal our lists.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And same question to you, Dan, 2023. Hit or miss?
Ooh. It's been a hit and miss. I think overall, though, we've had some good stuff, but I don't feel like it's as strong as it was this point in the year last year. But I do feel like it's pretty strong so far. I hope that it definitely improves.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully this the rest of the year will be a lot sweeter. But speaking of sweet, let's bring in one of the sweetest men I know. And quite literally like ice cream melting in California, Mr. Shawn.
Yes, I am melting right now. It is
How hot?
117 degrees.
Dude, if it hits 120, what happens? Does like your hair go on fire or what happens?
We all die.
Jesus Christ, this is just not healthy.
That is
Yeah.
the valleys of California. Am I right, Shawn?
Yes, I am miserable, but I'm also so happy to be here and talk about our favorite movies, our favorite TV. This is exactly where I want to be right now.
Shawn, you may be a little bit more passionate here. 2023, hit or miss?
It's a little bit of a hit and a miss. I feel like we're kind of all on the same page right now. I think that there's been some great movies. It's been a great year for animation, in my opinion. But there's not been any movies that have really stuck with me like Everything Everywhere All at Once had at the beginning of last year and some other films. So we're on our way, but we're not quite there yet.
I completely agree. May I be the pessimist here?
Sure, go for it.
This year is not too good, in my opinion. We got the best of the year so far. I want everybody watching this stream to know we're not here just giving you scraps like, oh, here's the default picks.
Right.
These are truly the TV shows and the films that we think are good any year. But it's crazy that around this time last year, right, to my little Off to the Races crew, we had 3 of the 10 Best Picture nominees already. Maybe we have one this year so far. Maybe. Possibly.
Yeah.
This year, as of the beginning of July, just has not been hitting like last year. And Anthony, you mentioned that we have to be optimistic here, man. Hopefully it gets better. But my friends, we have some people in the comments. I would love to show them some attention because, guys, I just want to let you know, we're probably not going to give you much attention. We're going to be lost in our little world for these 2 hours, right? All right, so we have Miss Sin from Sin's Corner saying that we're late. We wouldn't be the Cinema Squad if we were never late.
Love me some Sin.
Eric Thorpe Reviews is here. He says, well, I think we all know what number 1 will be. Well, maybe. But do you know what number 3 is, though? That's the question. Right? My wife is here, guys.
Hey, Francis.
Right in the other room as well. So let's see. We got Miss Katie from Popping the Popcorn saying hello, friends, and happy Sunday.
Hey, Katie.
Katie, hope you have been well. Sin chiming in with some of her favorites so far. Ooh, all right. Let's get into this. She says, number 1 is The Covenant. Ooh, Guy Ritchie, right? Guy Ritchie?
Yeah.
Nice. Extraction 2. Whoa. Spider-Man at 3. Guardians 3 at 4. The Machine at 5. That's a film that I missed. I wanted to see it, man. I'm a big Burt Kreischer fan, man. 6 is D&D. 7, Knock at the Cabin. And 8, Megan. Ooh, I wonder if. Yeah, I mean, I'm just confused. Why stop at 8? Is that like, is 9 and 10 just not up there for you?
She's like, that's it. That's all there is.
I almost feel that. I almost feel like I have a top 5, not a top 10. We have Thencasti who says hello.
Welcome.
We got Sukotsu. Yo, fellas, I love your streams. You guys are flowing hard. Keep it up. Yo, Sukotsu. I hope I'm saying that right, man, because thank you. Truly, thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy the stream. And if you haven't already, put some of your favorites down in the comments below. Discuss amongst yourselves. We got Sin who says, yeah, the year started off pretty decently, but it hasn't felt super stellar overall.
I think she has a really good point there because there have been a lot of really good like mid movies, like 3.5s, a couple of 4s, but there hasn't been anything that's just been like groundbreaking yet.
Yeah.
Besides, maybe
I mean, I'd argue one or two. Or two.
Well, we'll see, right? We'll see.
Yo, Patrick's in the chat. Yo,
Hey.
Patrick.
Indiana Jones for Best Picture. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it's even on our list.
Don't know
We'll
about
see.
that one.
We'll see if it's on our list. You know what I mean? Eric goes and he says that he's curious. What's the possible Best Picture nominees? Past Lives? Ooh. Could Past Lives be a possible Best Picture nominee? Aside from this stream, there's a good chance, man. The talk is there. The talk is there for a Best Picture nominee. There are many people that even say that it's one of the front runners so far in July for next year's category, next year's ceremony, I mean, right? We got Patrick who says, if anybody says Bo is afraid, it will be war. Patrick, did you even see it, man?
Yeah, what's going on, Patrick?
It's
trying to start a fight already.
It's grown on me.
That one
I
got
must
such
admit.
mixed reviews, though. I mean, across the board, right?
It did. It did.
I mean, the three of us have seen it. I know that.
Yeah. It's grown on me. I can say that for sure.
Yeah.
But I still hold true to a lot of my cons. We almost made a stream, believe it or not, but then some stuff happened. Maybe when it releases on Blu-ray, we can go ahead and do that stream.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one.
I know.
And Sin confirming she does not have a top 10, but the year isn't done. Exactly, Sin. Exactly. I think you have more of a top than I do.
Yeah.
Lots of big films to come. Yeah. And he goes, I didn't pick Indiana Jones.
It's like he just wanted to clarify.
But he did see it. He did see it. And Eric talking about he just loved it.
Awesome.
He loved Indy.
My friends, thank you for being here. And again, I want to just tell you guys, we might not be as active with the chat. So please chat amongst yourselves and talk about our opinions and talk about your opinions. With that being said, let's move on, guys, to our honorable mentions. Honorable mentions. Okay. Honorable mentions. We are going to start here with the babyface himself, Mr. Dan. We could have chosen between film, TV, or both, and you decided to choose film, and your honorable mention is Extraction 2. Talk to us a little bit about Extraction 2.
I loved this movie. It's such a good action film. There's a 21-minute, looks like a one shot, and they did a really good job with it. It's just a fun action movie that kind of harkens back to fun action movies of the past. Yeah. And Chris Hemsworth does a really good job. Sam Hargrave's a really good, I think, action director. And I just really like the series. I liked Extraction 1 as well. I actually liked this one more. So it's one that I definitely would recommend to people to watch on Netflix. And, it's high up on my list, so I had to use it as an honorable mention.
Okay, that's cool. Dan, remember before you even saw Extraction 2, we had just a little chat about how people are hyping this movie up, and compared to the first Extraction, you said that one's okay. Compare that to this.
Well, I gave that one the first one a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
This one gets a 4 out of 5. I really liked this. I thought it improved on a lot of stuff. I did like, but I really like both of them. I think they're both pretty well-made action films.
Yeah, cool. Shawn, have you seen Extraction 2 yet?
I have not seen Extraction 2 yet.
If not, have you seen the first one?
I have seen the first one, and I'm looking forward to this one. I think the biggest thing is I am a sucker for any kind of one long shot kind of thing, like Alfonso Cuarón in Children of Men, Old Boy, those kinds of action scenes really get me going. So just knowing that they brought the same thing from the first film, I think that one was 16 minutes, and then now this one's 21 minutes. I'm like, okay, keep it up. I'm excited to see it.
Does it feel, Dan, like one of you might have mentioned this, like one of those old 80s action type films?
Yes, 80s, to early, almost 2000s. Yeah, it feels like just a simple plot, but really good action.
Ooh,
Still a really good
Anthony.
plot. Yeah.
Anthony, talk to me about 80s action movies.
Now I feel bad because now it's I haven't seen these unfortunately, but it sounds right up my alley because 80s action, yeah, that perks me up right away. It's like hello 80s action, yeah. Yeah, so like if you had to compare it maybe to an 80s action kind of movie, like what would you say it's like?
Oh,
Like are we talking like Rambo or Die Hard or something like that or?
Don't say Steven Seagal.
I don't know. It's more the plot that I'm comparing to those for me at least. Just but I mean the action is too, but it's just Die Hard was one that came to mind.
Okay.
Just kind of plot wise more, but yeah, no, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
I definitely got like Bourne Identity, like the Bourne
the
franchise.
Identity,
I get those vibes from this franchise for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, Dan, thanks for that honorable mention, my friend. I think we are going to move on to who'd I pick here? It's Sophie's choice. I think we're going with Mr. Shawn. Mr. Shawn, I must say that you and Anthony are just battling on who has the best mustache, honestly.
It's definitely Anthony.
But we're going with Shawn for the picks here. Shawn, your honorable mentions. You have TV and a show. Here are your picks. You have a good person for movie and Silo for TV show. Talk to me a little bit about Silo.
Oh, I am gutted that Silo is not a part of our own personal top 5, but I know everyone here is afraid to get Apple TV Plus for some reason. I don't know why.
Terrified.
Another streaming service.
Yes.
My pockets.
But I am like the PSA for Apple TV Plus. Okay, like Apple TV Plus is one of the cheapest of all the streaming services, and they have some of the best shows that are being made right now. Netflix is doing a whole load of crap. It's like quantity over quality, whereas Apple TV Plus is the opposite. Silo is definitely one of the best sci-fi series I've seen in quite some time. It's extremely exciting. I know it's been a little bit divisive because it is more of a slow burn sci-fi series, but the world is so immersive, and that season finale just like, and I'm so excited for season 2.
Shifting gears to your film, A Good Person. I know this is one that when you saw it, you said it was your #1 film of the year. At that time, I know it's not anymore, but at that time. So explain to us the love you have for this film.
Yeah, so I was struggling because I wanted to do one of my favorite animated movies this year because there's Nimona and Suzume, and I also really loved Elemental too. But I chose A Good Person because it is one of those heartfelt films. It wears its heart on its sleeve. It's talking about addiction in such a honest way. Florence Pugh, Morgan Freeman, who's literally hasn't been this good in decades. So it's just a wonderful film. There is one scene in this movie that is so melodramatic. I wish they had cut the shit out of that scene.
The New York scene, right?
What?
The
New York scene.
Yes, the New York scene. But we're gonna forget that's even a part of the movie. The rest of it is it's so good. It's a return to form for Zach Braff, and I love this movie.
Yeah, man, that was something that I really appreciated with A Good Person as well. Would be that, man, the messages behind it, the themes behind it. Shawn, appreciate your mentions here. I would like to also mention that we got Mr. Jace in the play.
Woo! It's about damn time.
What's up, everybody?
Listen, Jace, I think it's best to just put you in with the Sharks, my man. I'm going to put you on the spot. Your honorable mentions are Knock at the Cabin and The Mandalorian. Talk to me a little about Knock at the Cabin. M. Night Shyamalan.
It's great to see everybody too. Well,
I said with the Sharks.
Yeah. No, jumping right into the deep end here. Knock at the Cabin. What an interesting film from M. Night Shyamalan, because I don't mean to ruin anyone's experience with this, but maybe this is actually best that you hear this going into it if you haven't seen it already. No big M. Night Shyamalan twist. right? Not exactly the normal run-of-the-mill thing. But again, don't be upset at me. You're probably going to be happier once you go through it and know that there wasn't going to be that type of big twist at the end. And in a way, right, I think it works, right? I like it. It's very simple, straightforward, to the point. It's one of those where it wants to lead you in certain directions and very much makes it believable that it could be a bunch of different things. And, maybe it's your gut led you in the right place in the first place. But it's a really unique take on the novel. I forget. I can't remember what the name of the novel is.
The Cabin at the End of the World.
Spin on it.
Yeah.
There you go. I know it has a bit different ending, and that's something where I'm curious for people who have read the book for what their thoughts would be on that. But yeah, it's something where some good performances across the board. Dave Bautista definitely, I think, steals the scene quite a few times within that film. Gosh, sorry, I was trying to be a little bit more prepared as far as what I'll be able to say about it real quick. It's one of those movies where I think one of the reasons why I kind of have it as an honorable mention here is because maybe not quite across the board for it to be in our top 5 collectively, but definitely deserves to be thrown out there as it's kind of something that, as far as horror films go, it's kind of weird to even throw it into the horror category. It's more just like tense and thriller and suspense and everything like that. But one of the better ones to come out this year, just in general, right? Kind of genre aside, just one of the better put together films that deserves at least to get a mention within a list of some sort, even if it's not that top 5.
And Jace, on the Cinema Squad, we have about 3 hours worth of discussion on The Mandalorian. So whoever wants to check that out, go on to our playlist. We have it in the TV reviews, me, Anthony, and Jace. So explain just a little bit here quickly, Jace, about The Mandalorian Season 3.
Yeah. With this one, it's, I love the show. For anyone that knows, kind of my point of view specifically, I'm a big Star Wars guy, right? And I'm happy to say we got some other big fellow Star Wars guys here. So it's kind of weird it's not part of the top 5. But if you've seen the third season, you've seen the third season. It's just fair to say, is it still enjoyable? Does it still have good moments? Absolutely. It is not like it's a complete miss. However, it is easy to say it does not exactly deserve to creep into the top 5 area. This is the weakest out of the 3 seasons, unfortunately. And without getting into a whole rant about it, I do feel like there is a lot of unfortunate behind-the-scenes drama that has led it to be that case. So yeah, that's like a very long story short. Enjoyable, sure. Top 5 worthy. Sadly, not this year. Maybe season 4, man. Maybe season 4.
Hopefully.
If I haven't emphasized it enough, I am happy you are here, my friend. Thank you for being on.
Hey,
we love you. It ain't the same without you, even if it's 10 minutes. Let's move on over to a just as lovable guy. I look at his face. I'm like, man, this guy's so lovable because Anthony. It's true. It's true, Anthony. Take a second, Anthony, and talk to us about your honorable mentions here: Dungeons and Dragons and the Bad Batch.
Yeah, look at this. It looks so nerdy. Those two things sitting up there. I don't think. No, that's fine. These are my picks. I love these picks. So I will start. Continuing with Star Wars. Let's just continue with Star Wars. Bad Batch. I feel like this show is a little bit slept on, even among Star Wars fans. But I'm still liking it. We're going into our last season now, and I was actually a little bit bummed to hear that. But as far as this season goes, this season was overall a winner for me. I do recommend it. There's spoilery stuff in there, so I don't even want to go too deep into it. But I mean, it's just straight up. It's a fun show. It's filling in some fun areas of Star Wars that we didn't know about. It's doing some more world building. And I don't want to spoil too much, but we get some surprises this season too. So if you're a Star Wars fan and you're holding out for a cameo or an appearance of somebody, this show does that too. It provides big time. So Bad Batch, Star Wars, highly recommended. And as far as Dungeons and Dragons goes, this was I slept on this movie for so long, and then finally I don't know where it showed up, if it was like Amazon or HBO. Anyway, I finally checked it out. I'm like, oh my God, this movie is amazing. It was just a completely fun time. Apparently previously Dungeons and Dragons movies. For some reason, I had in my head that this was like a sequel or a reboot or something. It's not. It's just its own thing, at least to my understanding, right? Anyway, it's just Chris Pine is greatness. The villain is incredible. There's great humor. There's great action. There's it's nice that we get some love. We get everything that you would want in like a movie like this. And I mean, so this is another one highly recommended. Some cool special effects, great action. No complaints with this movie. It was just a pleasant surprise for me. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Nice. I wasn't too big on it at first, but I gotta say, I even went up with my score on Letterboxd because it is an enjoyable time. Yeah, it is. It is.
It's
an
a
enjoyable
damn
time.
fun movie. Like
Yeah.
I feel like they really they took Dungeons and Dragons and they made it exactly what it should be. It's just a blast.
It is.
Cool.
I can admit that now. I can definitely admit that now.
Cool. I'm glad to hear. Actually, we haven't had a chance to talk about this one. I don't think too much, even in the chat or whatever. So glad to hear you guys kind of liked it too. That's cool.
Yeah.
Great choices, my friend. Let's end our honorable mentions with me. My honorable mentions are Past Lives and Daisy Jones and the Six. Let's talk about Daisy Jones and the Six because I got a lot to say here, guys, and I just got to condense it down as much as I can, just like all of you, right? Got to be fair. Daisy Jones and the Six is a show that I started with my wife. It is on Amazon, and we started it, and it gave us major, for better or worse, Bohemian Rhapsody, Star is Born vibes. And this story just really gripped us. This relationship between Sam Claflin and Riley Keough, they are just incredible in this show. And aside from the actual story, these songs are so good. Fire. I have the vinyl of Daisy Jones and the Six. I have the vinyl because I love the songs so much. They're actually good songs, not just good songs in a show, good songs to listen on the radio. Definitely recommend Daisy Jones and the Six. I mean, that season, the season finale was tugged on my heartstrings. What a great show. And then talking about tugging on heartstrings, we got Past Lives. I think I am still the only one who has seen this movie, not because you guys have slept on it, but because the movie's still rolling out. It's still rolling out. And so it's not even in a lot of cities as we speak, but I was able to see it last week. And I came out of this movie and I said, you know what? It's not as good as everybody is saying, but it's good. And then, as you guys know in the chat, some of you at least, I kept writing until a day later I said, guys, I think I might love this movie, actually.
Okay.
It's not a thinker. It's just a movie that you need to let, like, in your heart and spread. Spread to your mind also. And you start to think about certain characters' motives, and you start to think about why this person did this instead of doing that. You think about what was this character really feeling, and how does that culture and getting out of this culture, going into a new culture, go within the actual plot of destiny and love and what it means to be in a certain place at a certain time. I loved it. I think there are a lot of themes here done very well, very tastefully, and it's a very quiet film, a very small film. And I think that's what was bothering me at first because it was so small. But I think that's just the point. It's supposed to be big in your heart.
Oh, I love it.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
excited to see it.
Let's get it, Shawn. My friends, we've had some great mentions here, but it's time to get to where people want to see. Right? People want to see our top 5 films of 2023.
Yes.
Ooh, let's get ready. Let's see. I'm excited. We are going to get into our number 5 film of 2023 so far, and that is the Ben Affleck directed Air. And I am going to send this straight to Jace. Because, Jace, I want you to have some more talking time since you're a little late. So I want some more talking time from you.
Well, I hope I'll still get at least a decent amount of it. A blabbermouth over here. No, but with this one, I think I'll go ahead and take the one comment right off the board. And I'm sorry in advance, but probably the main thing that everybody's thinking of, how nice it is to have Ben Affleck and Matt Damon back together yet again, right?
Yes.
So it's such a good combo. It's actually one of those where the more you kind of think about it, it almost makes you upset to a certain degree. It's like, I wish they got a chance to do more throughout, like, the peaks of their careers and everything like that. Because, granted, they're still killing it, but maybe could have killed it even before. Like, I would have liked to seen Matt Damon when he was in like his Jason Bourne days be like with Ben Affleck when he also could have maybe been doing action related stuff as well. You know what I mean?
That would have been interesting.
Nonetheless, what an interesting like story for them to tackle. Well, I remember when this first was announced and was coming out and everything, I was like, what? I'm not disappointed. I was just shocked. I was taken aback. I was like, they're doing about the shoes, like the Jordan shoes, a whole movie about it. Ben Affleck. Okay. But my gosh, talk about as far as being like a major surprise to say the least, especially all the accompanying cast. They absolutely bring it as well. And so it's just something it's like an all around just kind of, just good time to see everybody that is there together and just a well executed piece, like all in all. I wasn't expecting it to be as entertaining as it was or be as intriguing as it was, because don't get me wrong, I think the shoes are really dope, but I've never really been curious of like, how did this come to be? But it's more it's more interesting than you'd think, though, you know. So I give him a lot of credit for that.
That's what I said in my Letterboxd review. Ben Affleck was able to bring intrigue into a subject that is boring as hell.
And well, another great thing is like we I mean, we know what the ending's going to be. We know, you know, that we know where it's going. But yet,
did you really?
The whole way? Yeah, I was pretty sure.
I do want to also say, I think that sadly though kind of then opened the floodgates for like them to just make a movie about like potentially anything, like, but didn't in the same year shortly. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, didn't the Hot Cheetos movie and like the Tetris movie come out shortly afterwards? And it was like,
and the Blackberry movie,
and the Blackberry movie. Yeah.
Oh gosh,
it's gonna be a cinema. It's gonna be a Rubber Duckies category this year, guys. The best product placement movie. Shawn, talk to me a little bit about Air and maybe touch a little bit on its Oscars chances.
Yes, so I am not as big on this movie as everyone else, but I did enjoy it. I think it's a super watchable film. I think it's like I enjoyed every minute that I was watching it. I do think it's just kind of like how John was talking about Past Lives is very much so a small film. I also think this is a very small film. There's not a lot of stakes, it feels like. But I think it is extremely entertaining. It's great to see Matt Damon and Ben Affleck together. We got Chris Rock. We got Viola Davis. So it's an entertaining movie, and it's a crowd pleaser. So I did really enjoy this movie. As for its Oscar chances, I think that it's not going to happen.
Ooh, Dan, argue with this, Dan. Argue with it. Don't you have Air as like your number one, like gonna win Best Picture nominee?
Fight.
No. I don't know. Not number one. Well, first, I really liked this movie. I was very surprised because it's a movie about shoes and sports, and I don't really like either. But no, I loved what Ben Affleck did. I love the fast pace of it all, and like Anthony was saying, how it still kept you in suspense, even though you know the outcome.
Yeah,
and great performances. Viola Davis is great. She doesn't have as big of a role as maybe I would expect her to get nominated, although she was still in my predictions video that we did for Off to the Races to be nominated for Best Supporting Actress. And I did have Air somewhere in my Best Picture nomination predictions. I feel like it could be like I like this movie way better, but a Don't Look Up situation where it's kind of, just. You
like Air better?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm starting to feel less like it might get nominated for stuff, but I would love to it'd be in the conversation.
A big surprise, this movie for sure. I am hoping for a screenplay nomination.
Yeah.
I will say.
Okay.
Guys, which would be cool because the writer of this is not Ben Affleck or Matt Damon. It'll
be a first-time writer. It would be Alex Convery, who is first-time writer. That would be great.
And also, I'm sorry, I said Chris Rock. I meant Chris Tucker.
Oh. You're not racist.
No.
Doesn't it make you feel like, come on, man, where's Chris Tucker been all these years? Like,
that's exactly what I was thinking when I saw him. I was like,
he's been in Air. He's been in Air, making Air.
He's just this whole time.
Guys, let's move on to our number 4
Long
film.
production, a very, very long production.
Number 4. And just as long as the segue. Number 4. Our number 4 film, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to it. It is loading as I speak. But it is Evil Dead Rise. I want to pass it to Anthony. Because Anthony, you are the horror aficionado of the group. You love
and I'm a little
sci-fi
fresh
horror. Yeah.
I'm fresh at this one too. Like I saw it somewhat recently, and it was just surprising. It was I hate to say surprisingly good because that feels like I expected it to be shitty. That wasn't the case, but it's just I'm a fan of I love the Evil Dead franchise. I even love the Evil Dead series that was on Stars that I feel like is so slept on. But let me focus on this movie. Okay, Evil Dead Rise. This was just a killer movie. It had a lot of what the previous movies gave us, but it also gave us something fresh. I even like the wordplay with Evil Dead Rise. For those people who have seen the movie, the setting takes place mainly, in an apartment building. I mean, that's fresh territory for the. I mean, you say, oh, it's just a setting change. No, but it works so well, and they make use of it. There's a great elevator scene. There's just great use. There's a lot of atmosphere in this film. I just think it works great overall, and we also focus mainly on that villain right there. That was a wonderful performance too. That was a wonderful performance. This woman was terrifying, So I think that this is I think this was a pretty impressive movie. I want to see more from this franchise now, and I'm happy as heck to see the Evil Dead franchise still alive and strong.
Yeah, Dan. You've seen many films this year, including horror movies, and I know that our top 5 is a collective vote, and so that's why Evil Dead Rise is here. But would you say Evil Dead Rise is the best horror movie of the year?
Yes.
Yeah?
Wow.
Yep.
Ooh, talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I just really love this movie. I thought the 2 main actresses were, and the whole family was really good, but the 2 main actresses are just amazing, especially the mommy. Whatever they think. She's really terrifying, and she's really good at all the horror, the body horror, and all of that stuff. And I just loved, like you said, it was in a high-rise apartment. They used it. They can't get out the windows. They look out the windows. They try to get someone's help. No one can hear them. There's the elevator scene.
Yeah.
There's a thing in the ramp. And I really enjoyed all that. The new setting and everything was really cool and used very well here. And yeah, I don't know. I saw it twice in theaters. I just really loved it. Yeah.
Nice. Now, Shawn, I gotta pass it to you now. Whenever I see that you agree on a genre film being in a top 10 or top 5, that is just incredible. We all know you love your hidden gems. Mm-hmm. Evil Dead Rise this high for us. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's definitely in my top 10 of the year. I fucking love this movie. Excuse my French. I think it is so good in so many different ways. I think where Scream 6, and I know we might all disagree on this, I thought that they did not take advantage of the New York setting as much as they could have. I thought Evil Dead Rise took advantage of that high-rise setting to every degree that they could. I think the intro is brilliant, even with like the credits opening up like that. I was like, whoa. And it like captures that zany quirkiness of Evil Dead, but also the extreme gore. We have like the practical monster effects a little later on. It just hit on so many different, in so many different ways. I love this movie. And the cheese grater scene. Like that's gonna go in history, man. Like I'm not gonna forget that.
I was hoping like that nobody would bring that up, but there we go. That was painful.
Evil Dead Rise. I want to pass this to somebody who looks like they literally just rose from taking a nap, Mr. Jace.
No. I mean, I actually didn't, but the bedhead has remained since I've woken up, so I can't, I can't deny that part.
Jace, from what do you think it is about Evil Dead Rise that caused it to be as popular as it is? And I'll tell you why. I was doing some research. Evil Dead Rise has made 12 times its budget back. That's insane. Insane.
I'll attribute it to this. At least, it's my own personal interpretation, of course, but one thing that I can say about this franchise as well as this new entry is that out of all the horror related things that seem to come out recently, this feels the most like horror.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, even granted, I love the Scream franchise. I have a lot of fun with it. This newest one I thought was a good addition. Does it really feel horror like though? Not really. You know what I mean? It's thriller. It's maybe suspenseful here and there, but not really too many. And I'm not trying to completely, shit on it at all, but it's just not too many what I would consider to be like horrific elements that kind of leave you with a certain, resonating feeling of like, the fuck did I just see? I think so that almost needs to be present in the most standout of horror movies. And that's what you get from this. Like, we're all talking about as far as the main performance, which, mommy, right? When you describe it, I don't know. Regardless, though, yeah, you need something like that, to kind of stand, because that's not what you get everywhere. It's almost like a equivalent to when you get like Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, something that's just very standout and dynamic that helps push that horrific element forward, that like uncomfortable feeling that like as you're watching you're like, I want to keep watching this, and yet I also feel like I don't know if I should keep watching this. And this introduces a whole bunch of that to the point where I think they definitely they succeeded in managing to continue a franchise that I believe many people would have otherwise considered to be well past its prime.
Nice, great words, my friends. Evil Dead Rise is available on Max. So whoever wants to check it out, go on Max. And you can watch Evil Dead Rise, our number 4 film of the year so far. Let's move on, guys, to our number 3 film of the year. And that is John Wick Chapter 4, baby. Shawn, let's start with you. What worked? What worked, Shawn?
Okay, so this one I was so high on it when I first saw it.
Don't you dare.
Every time I keep looking at my Letterboxd, I keep moving it down the list because I think that there's some incredible moments in this film, but it is one long action sequence, and some of the action gets so repetitive. Do I think it's some of the best action put to screen? I absolutely do. Do I love this character of John Wick? Do I love Keanu Reeves? All of it, yes. But I am ready for them to take the franchise in a different direction. I still really do like this movie a lot, but I do have some issues with it.
Anthony, do we want to take this in a new direction, or is John Wick going to? Should I say this? Spoiler alert! Come back from the dead.
Yeah, I feel like we sort of have to go in a little bit of a different direction. But then again, I don't know. With this franchise, you can just sort of. I mean, this movie picks up, and it feels like it fast forwards a little bit from where the previous movie left off. Let me give a shout out real quick to Patrick, because we did like a John Wick stream and we had fun talking about these movies. Maybe we'll do one for this movie. But like I do agree. I think maybe it is time to push it into a different area. And I do agree that, yeah, maybe some of the action did go. Shawn, did you have a little bit of a video game feeling from some of the action? Just curious. Because I did get that feeling. And I did like the movie. I did love it, actually. But yeah, there was some video game vibes to it where, I mean, even down to the music, it very much felt like a video game. But all the same, I dug it anyway. I like that there's a great overhead shot where John Wick is going through and blowing people away. I like stuff like that where they push. Maybe something like that has been seen in an action film before, but I hadn't seen it before. So I feel like they are trying to do some creative things here and some clever new ways of depicting these fights. So I feel like I want to credit it a little bit for that too, because it's not all just straight, shooting and punching and kicking and stuff like that. Although it is maybe it is a lot of that, granted.
Mm-hmm. Dan Wick, is this the best in the franchise?
I don't know. I love the first one. I mean, I really love all of them, I think.
How many dogs would you rate it?
living.
I have it very high up on my list, but I feel like when I rewatch it, not much, but I feel like it's going to go down a little bit. but I still loved it. I had so much fun with the action. I thought the action was so well done, but I do feel I find it's a little long. That's probably my biggest, pet peeve with it. But no, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I think it's a very well made action film.
No, I agree. Patrick, I believe, says something in the chat that I agree with just very quickly here. And it's the fact that no dialogue really hurts this movie. I agree. I think I said that right off the bat when I came out. Is like, he doesn't even, I think it's like less than a paragraph of dialogue in the whole freaking film.
Right.
But I feel like its pros are so, the fact that he didn't have to talk more than a paragraph, and yet you're still able to relate with his character, to be engaged with what's happening, and by the end feel that finality, like, oh, what a blow to the chest, without more than a paragraph of dialogue. That Chad Stahelski, incredible, I think. Will it go down? I don't think it'll go down too much with time, because I do agree it's a bit repetitive and whatnot. Jace, curious on you.
Yeah. I feel like it's funny listening to the conversation. Probably wouldn't guess it's the third out of our top 5. But nonetheless, I mean, I'm glad we're still trying to give that credit where it's due, and maybe I'll help out doing a little bit more so, especially in comparison to the previous entry, so the third one, which was like a bit too out there. Like, they were just like, let's just literally go balls to the wall. This one kind of brings it back down enough. It's still got, some unrealistic things in there for sure, but brings it back down to that grounded level that kind of the first and the second one had, maybe more so the second one. Repetitive, sure, maybe. I guess I could definitely as far as see where we're coming from, especially the stair scene. But I mean, my God, that shit's hilarious. Like it's, but yeah, I guess repetitive nonetheless. But here's actually what I want to say in kind of very ever so slight defense of that. The one thing I appreciate about the franchise as a whole is they seem to always do their best to stray away from the stormtrooper effect, which is where like one of them by themselves is very dangerous, but all of a sudden when you get into a wave of them, for some reason you can take them out like bowling pins. Even when he's fighting a wave of these, kind of like no-name generic assassins, we don't know who they are, they're just other people that are trying to go up against him, it still feels like he really has to fight his way through the whole situation at hand, right? Like, and there's something about that sure, does that kind of drag things out potentially a little bit? Yeah. But I appreciate that. It just, like I said, brings the slightest bit of realism back to a very unrealistic setting at hand here. I definitely had a lot of fun as far as, although I felt the length, I felt it was very fun throughout the entire thing. Did not expect it to end the way that it did. And it's one of those where it's almost like, I feel like it's appropriate though, I mean, would I be upset if a potential sequel came out that just kind of recycled and repeated what we just saw? I'd watch it, you know what I mean? And and I would hope that it was really good, but does it feel appropriate to just let things lie because of what they did at the end? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Like, as a matter of fact, I think it would be very close to being on the verge of like disrespectful if they found some like piss poor shitty excuse. This isn't Marvel. This isn't, you know what I mean? Like something else where like you can just go ahead and be like, the Infinity Stones brought him back. Like, right? Kind of, it was a very peaceful, honorable, what felt like a, closing to certain things. So like that, I definitely appreciated a lot as well. Also, I just wanted to make the quickest of note, and then I'm sorry, I'll let you throw in. But Anthony threw out about, you feel like it feels like a video game and stuff. And man, it's a good point, because I've thought about that too. Am I just not? How have we not had a John Wick video game up until this point?
God, is one in? I don't know that we do, but I mean, maybe one's in development or something like that. I'm not sure. It feels odd that we haven't.
Right? They're like
want to count the movies? No.
Yeah, they're like 3 movies too late on that shit. They should have done that like right away. It feels like it'd be a perfect opportunity.
It'll work now, though, I must say. Jace, love your love for this movie, because I agree.
Yeah.
Guys, we're moving on to our number 2 film of the year. Guess, what is it? What is it? What is our number 2 film of the year? It is loading. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. What? We could probably stay here another 3 hours and talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, because for our
we already did it.
I was gonna say if you haven't checked it out already, we have a live stream where we talked spoiler talked all of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I'm going to say this. Shawn, I started with you with John Wick Chapter 4. I'm going to start with you again because how the hell is a superhero movie our number 2 film of the year? How did you not push back on that? How did you not throw all of us out of the group chat?
Because it's a damn good movie.
All right.
I think Guardians is definitely my comfort zone when it comes to Marvel movies, and I think James Gunn did such a beautiful job kind of finishing his legacy in the MCU. This is such a fun movie. I have a friend who said that this movie was boring. I completely disagree. I thought it was one of the most emotional MCU movies. I loved Rocket's backstory. I love that one-shot action sequence. I know I was talking about one-shots. I love that sequence in the hallway where they go at it. Like, I just had goosebumps. The music is great once again, and I love this movie. Do I have some issues with it? Adam Warlock, maybe, yes, but besides that, I think this is a great movie. I love it so much.
No, yeah, for sure. Dan, Guardians of the Galaxy. When I first met you, I remember that's like your favorite superhero movie ever, right? It's like the Guardians of the Galaxy, and you were so excited for this, like Endgame levels of excited. Did it live up?
Yes, it did. Yeah, because Endgame, Infinity War, this, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, No Way Home, are just like some of my favorite superhero movies. I love them, MCU movies. And this one just hit it out of the park, I think. There's definitely some issues, like John was saying, like Adam Warlock. But I thought it was funny, emotional. I loved Rocket more than I ever have, and I always have. But I mean, I really love everyone. It's a collective thing. So I just thought the cast did a great job. I thought James Gunn did a great job finishing off each of their arcs, and they each got, even if it's a small thing, they each got kind of an arc in this film. So I really appreciated that as well. Yeah, that one-shot action scene in the hallway was great. Yeah, it's a really good. Yeah.
Mr. Berger-Rocard, do you mind displaying how hard did you cry during Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
Obviously, only best present this by but okay. So it went a little something. But forgive me because it's on the spot, but it went a little something like this. No.
And the Oscar goes to
God damn it, movie! Why you gotta do this to me?
And the Oscar goes to.
Forgive me, because it was like that. I'm just trying to get it. It's a rough sketch, if you will. But imagine that.
Beautiful.
And you also liked it.
Oh gosh, I mean, if that didn't prove that I did, I just what else can you ask for except to get an emotion like that or emotional reaction like that out of a movie? Man, no, I will say it very much tugged at the heartstrings quite a bit. It's actually one of the things that I know it sounds really funny to say it like this, but I find it to be one of its biggest compliments as well as one of its, I don't know if I'd say a biggest flaw, but a flaw as well. And this is all that I mean. It feels like a very, very well-rounded, organized very nicely Rocket Raccoon story. And then all of a sudden it was like, what is everyone else going to do? And it's kind of like, how do I fix everyone else into there? Now, some people, I think it was like integrated better than others. I think there were some side stories that were just like, hey, this is nice. They got to be there for some reason. It's just a side story. But that's still like a minor complaint overall, because thankfully the pros heavily outweighed the cons. The Rocket Raccoon story as a whole is just absolutely like phenomenal. I'm so glad that they were willing to go to that extent with it. You know what I mean? Some people say like, oh, it's so dark. It is. I think we're maybe kind of like taking it too far when we say how dark it is. It's like, hey, take it easy. That shouldn't be such an extreme, because they handled it nicely, right? And I really, really appreciate that they managed again to kind of throw that in there. Glad they let James Gunn do his thing with this and not try to tone it back a little bit. Maybe they gave him that extra leeway because it was his final MCU entry. But he did everybody justice. I feel like that, was super entertained all the way through as far as with the action. I'll just quickly say I agree about the whole Adam Warlock thing, which is a shame because I do like the character a lot. And I was excited to see that he was going to be in it in general. And I knew he was going to be a part of the Guardians moving forward. But kind of feels like half-assed as far as how that works here. The other part that I wanted to say, and I know that maybe we're trying to kind of be vague on details, but hopefully if you're watching this, it's because you just kind of like appreciate our opinions on the actual like thoughts within the movies and not just kind of like, I guess, a summarization, if you will. So forgive me for spoiling this ever so slightly. But I really appreciate what I would call mature storytelling that was done within Peter Quill's and Gamora's relationship.
Yes.
Specifically the fact that they did not end up back together at the end of the movie. I think that is obviously, it could have been a perfect out. Like, I don't think anybody really would have been upset. Maybe you would have had some people like, oh, of course they're going to get back together. And I probably would have been one of those people, honestly. But I would have been happy with it. You know, they're a really, really, Dan, I think you mentioned on multiple occasions, they're your favorite MCU couple. I can probably even like second that if I really put some thought into it. So I would have been happy to see them together, but at the same time, I just, again, stand by. I think it's mature storytelling to have it where they didn't, you know, it made sense here. And led to some actually kind of really cool progressive moments, you know, like nice character development moments for each of them, specifically for Star-Lord. So yeah, all in all, a couple of things here and there, but I didn't even mention the villain or whatever, right? High Evolutionary was a really cool mad scientist villain to have within that. Thought that worked well. Had a lot of fun with it.
Anthony, within a sea of mediocre Phase 4, Phase 5 films, how refreshing was this movie? Do we think MCU will keep it up?
Dude, you just read my mind. Yeah, because first of all, you guys have already said all the things, so that's.
Let's move on.
No, wait. I also like the action. It had a lot of good action. No, I think you guys even said that. Yeah, dude, you're right. In a sea of so many like mediocre TV shows, so many hits and misses, this is like just beyond a breath of fresh air. I think I like this movie like a million times more even than I thought I would. I knew I would like it. I didn't expect it to be this good. I almost feel like it doesn't have any right to be as good as it is. So yeah, nothing but praise for this movie. They pretty much got everything right. Loved it. That's
nice.
it.
Yeah. So somebody fell? Did somebody fall?
No, we're doing fireworks. We're close.
Oh, New York City, baby. New York City, baby.
All
That's
right,
just
guys.
code for, hey, somebody's out there taking care of a problem.
Or that, yes.
Somebody
don't worry about it and continue with the stream. You didn't hear nothing.
Hey, somebody order a pepperoni pizza with a Glock. This is the Bronx, baby.
I'll just hit mute.
We know Anthony's packing. Anyway, let's go to our number. Let's go to our number one film here, guys, because it is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Ooh, now this is a film that when in the beginning I said that there is one or two films that I could see going into Best Picture as of today. It is Past Lives and it is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, when I first saw the movie in theaters, I was over the moon about it. I still am. Spoiler alert, I still am over the moon about it. But I wasn't sure on its Oscar chances. Maybe I was just being a little bit too optimistic, but I've got to say, a month into its run in theaters, after watching videos of people posting for, their prediction videos like Off to the Races do, listening to podcasts about Oscar chances a year away from now, the top 10 Best Picture nominee predictions all have Across the Spider-Verse. And I feel that it is in a good spot to start a snowball effect. So by the time we reach January, February, and Oscar nominations come out, it could become this huge ball and garner a nomination. Spider-Verse, there's so many things we could say, and I want to start it off with Jace.
Well. All right, I'm happy, I guess, because there's something I want to mention that I already know is going to come up as an issue for people that I'd like to tackle ahead of time. But first and foremost, though, my gosh, what an artistic masterpiece to a degree. You know what I mean? It's like they really took the element of making the last one where everyone was like, hey, you could pause any single moment of that movie, and it's kind of like a comic book where it'll look like a comic book frame. And this one very much so amplified to an extent where maybe it's even almost on the verge of too much from time to time. Maybe, perhaps. But I still very, very much enjoyed every single bit of the visual aspects. It's extremely creative. What I appreciate is that what's just as creative, or I should say what's just as grasping, is the story. It's almost a shame that is kind of what comes second to a lot of things nowadays. It's everything is just a product. Right, it's just here's product, consume product. It's like, I'll gladly consume the product if you make it a very worthwhile to take in story that can actually kind of leave me something to resonate with and think about afterwards. And it's amazing how an animated film about a superhero is able to do that much more than a lot, if not any other film that I've personally witnessed as far as throughout this year. So I'm super thrilled that we were able to collectively decide that this should be something that's at the top of our list, because I feel like it absolutely deserves to be. The one part I was mentioning at the beginning that I'll just kind of get out of the way, I do understand where a lot of people are coming from of not exactly being too thrilled of the concept of a cliffhanger ending. I don't know how else to say it besides addressing it just like this. If you didn't know going in that it was supposed to be a part 1 of 2, then I guess I can understand. But for those who may not have remembered, I just want to kind of readdress the fact that this movie was announced as Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 originally, before they then changed it to just Across the Spider-Verse and then announced that Part 2 is just Beyond the Spider-Verse. But anyway, my point being is I found no disappointment in that. As a matter of fact, I was expecting it because I knew going into it that this was supposed to be a part 1 of 2. And in a way, I almost look at it like this. I think for, again, anybody that really wants to be very upset or maybe kind of criticize or downgrade the movie because of that cliffhanger, just try to remember anything else that feels that type of way that maybe didn't leave you with a similar impact. I think Infinity War is a really great example to try and relate it to. You cannot tell me that Infinity War didn't feel like a cliffhanger because literally half of everybody died, right? And this was at a time when it was but wait a second, half of these people that died are going to have movies of their own coming out after this. So what exactly is going on here? It's very much the epitome of a cliffhanger. And you could even argue back to stuff as far as The Empire Strikes Back, kind of ending on almost a cliffhanger-ish type note. I mean, it definitely is a situation where the heroes lose, so at the very least, that could be looked at as a almost cliffhanger-like, because well, what are they going to do? Are they really just going to leave us in a spot where the heroes have lost and that's it? So anyway, I just look at it as more of an intriguing thought. I thought it was almost refreshing, right? When's the last time we really got something like that within cinema? In modern days, and executed so well to the point where, let's be honest, if we're complaining about it, it's because you wanted to see where it goes. And isn't that the point of a cliffhanger? So I really just wanted to take a quick moment to kind of give maybe a refreshed perspective. Obviously, everybody's still entitled to whatever it is that they want to think about that ending, but I just thought that was worth throwing out there to maybe give someone a fresh breath of air of how to look at it a little bit differently and be like, all right, maybe I shouldn't be too harsh on the way that, the fact that it ended that way. But at least not to keep the rant going, I just wanted to also throw out that seeing all the different iterations of Spider-Man was obviously extremely cool. I love the way that they pulled it off. The voice acting throughout was really, really fun. And, Miguel O'Hara getting his cinematic debut here was a lot of cool. It just had a lot of cool moments bouncing off of Miles Morales and their interaction, and Peter Parker, I should say. Seeing all three of them together, it's a lot of fun.
I think Jace said everything. Let's move on.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And Anthony, I have a question for you. Do you think because Miles Morales is from Brooklyn, not from the Bronx, that knocks it down half a star?
At least, I mean, how could it not? I'm very glad that good one, John. I'm very glad Jace brought up the aspect of the ending, because I hate to think people are complaining about it. It was a bit of a thing for me, but not to the point of not to the point of it downgrading the movie, not to the point of it really hurting or anything. And I think maybe in my case it did. I don't remember the announcement of this being part 1 of 2, but I think along the way, through maybe reviews or something like that, I'd heard that if there was a cliffhanger ending. So I was expecting that, and I think maybe that helped a little bit too. But anyway, that aside, this movie was incredible. Loved it. beautiful animation. Again, like Jace mentioned, like you could pause it and print it out, and it's a poster on your wall, and it would look beautiful. The villain. Oh, and Spot. I want to mention the villain in this because I love that the villain begins, at least for me, it feels like he begins in a bit of like a just down and out kind of goofy place, and as the film progresses, he becomes a bit more of a badass. I like that evolution of the villain. So that was pretty cool too. I love the family dynamics in this, and I love the theme of just this is one that I guess like for maybe for parents or whatever, it hits a little harder. Having to let go of your kids, even if they're gonna maybe go out into the world and make mistakes. There's a little bit of Finding Nemo in there, a little bit in a way, right? With like letting go. Of course, you don't want to let them go in a way, and of course, you don't want them to get hurt. But sadly, you do have to. Or I shouldn't say sadly, but you do have to let them go at some point. They are going to make their own mistakes, and I feel like that's a great little message in this movie.
Yeah. I always knew that was kind of the message, but Anthony, you kind of painted it so beautifully with the final Finding Nemo motif there. Wow.
That was cool.
Shawn,
that really worked for me. All of that stuff, it really did.
Yeah,
Shawn,
this is your favorite movie of the year, correct?
Yes.
Ooh.
And I loved Into the Spider-Verse. I think this is even better. I know people might disagree because of the cliffhanger thing. I do think the end is almost like a Return of the King kind of situation where it's like I was waiting for the cliffhanger to happen, but it was like 15 minutes of like, okay, when is it going to just stop? Like I was ready for it to stop. And then so that kind of threw me off a little bit. I think that's what threw me off more than the actual part one situation itself. But besides that, I am so happy we got to know Gwen Stacy more and her relationship with her father. That first 15-minute introduction was so beautifully animated in the watercolors. And then there's like the Leonardo da Vinci kind of animation with the villain. And like, I really felt like they captured everything that was so special about Into the Spider-Verse and made it just bigger and better. So I can't wait to see what they do with Beyond the Spider-Verse, but I just hope they don't rush it. I'm okay with waiting for 2 years, 3 years, whatever they need to do.
Same.
To just make it the best that it can be.
I agree with that as well, Shawn. I'm willing to wait. Just make a good film, please. And I saved Dan for last. And you know why, Dan? It's time. It's time. This is your intervention, Dan. It is time.
Oh, I'm gonna give him the screen.
Why do you hate it, Dan?
I like it. The visuals are amazing. It's a masterpiece visually. I just don't. I think it's just too, it's just too much. Everyone loves it. Like it's the best thing since sliced bread, and I just don't understand that. I don't see that personally. Visually, yeah, it's a visual masterpiece. I just don't love either of them as much as everyone, loves them. And I don't even know why, to be honest. But
yeah. I gotta say, Dan, that's okay if you don't know why. There's a handful of films that I seriously don't care to even explain why I don't like, because I would have to really dig deep as to why I don't like them or don't like them as much as everybody else. So I get that feeling of I don't like it as everybody else does. Maybe I can't pinpoint it. That's why I'm not making like a 20-minute video essay on it. But it's just that I really don't. So I appreciate that you have the differing opinion here, Dan. I just wanted to hear maybe some points as to what didn't work for you more. What were some things that people saw as highlights that you didn't see as highlights?
So first of all, I actually liked the cliffhanger. I liked that it had a cliffhanger. I thought it was pretty well done. It kept me wanting more, which I guess is good. Like Jay said, that's a good indication of a good cliffhanger. And I don't know. Maybe I want to say it's just animation, but I've loved animation movies before. And I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's one of my favorite, if not my favorite fictional character. And I just like live action Spider-Man more. Okay. I don't know. Not all of them. So don't I'm not saying Morbius is better than this. But
is that fair to call that a live action Spider-Man movie though?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I have to watch it. But yeah, no, the visuals are amazing, but I do want to see it again. And I want.
Can I ask, Dan, if this is something that by chance you agree with? I don't know if this is like something you'd list in your categories of things that maybe just, I don't know, didn't work for you, or really if any of you guys could say that you noticed this. Minor thing, right? Because it's one of those where I still loved everything overall. So, as far as nitpicks here. And I mentioned this with the animation. Sometimes like it could be like considered a bit much, but very enjoyable, right? Very creative, very artistic. What I did think was on the verge of a bit much, but that did kind of become a detriment, was like audio is the best way to put it. There's a lot of times when characters are talking, it's when I mean literally all over the place, like it sounds like the audio is coming from all over. And I think that's intentional because they're literally swinging all around the place, and totally fine with that. But it's almost like they're also kind of like ADHD-ish, where it's like cutting each other off sometimes. And it's like, I'm trying to catch what somebody said and they're already a couple of sentences ahead. And it's like, was that important? I guess maybe not, if they just kind of blurted it out there real fast. There's not like too many moments of that within the movie, but I don't know. Dan, I mean, is it something where is it anything at all to have to do with it, or maybe of just the whole like how much was going on at once in certain points?
No, I definitely see why people would have issues with that, and but no, I noticed the audio and like how people had problems with the audio being too low, the dialogue being too low. I noticed that with Gwen's monologue in the beginning, and then I know what you're saying about them swinging around, and then it kind of just spits to the dialogue really fast. And no, I wasn't that much of a problem. I'm wondering if because the 40X experience was a little too much, so maybe that has to do with it. Like it was too, but like there were times I thought I was gonna fly out of my chair. It was crazy. Yeah, no, this was like the craziest 40X experience. So I'm wondering if I saw it again with my brothers, but my brother had to go to the bathroom, and we were gone for a while. Let's just say, so I missed a lot of it. So really, my experience is the 40X experience. And it wasn't that great. It was it was fun, but they did it a lot, but it was too much sometimes.
So what you're saying is 40X gave you PTSD, and now you should... it alters your movie-going experience.
Maybe. But I don't know. I'm just not as into it as everyone else.
Those are our top 5 films of 2023 so far, guys. I just want to go down the list and tell you where you can watch them. At number 5, we had Air. You can watch that on Amazon Video. 4, Evil Dead Rise. You can watch that on Max. 3, John Wick Chapter 4. Currently in theaters, but you could rent it on VOD. Number 2, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in theaters. And at number 1, we just spoke of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, currently in theaters as we speak. So please watch these 5 incredible films of 2023 so far. Yes. My friends.
Solid picks.
For real. We are moving into our top 5 shows of 2023. Ooh, Shawn, you're like, oof, my heart. Let's start at number 5, of course, because our number 5 show is Black Mirror Season 6. Anthony, hello, my friend.
I'll take this one. All right. So I'll just say up front, this one has people divided. I see online there's some people that I feel like it's mostly hate. I actually liked the last season. I think I'm going to get into it with one other person on this stream about this show. Anyway, I think what helps this last season is that I have been a fan all along. I was looking forward to this most recent season for a long time. It's been literally years since since we've had some new Black Mirror. So I'm happy to see it back. We only got a few episodes, but for the most part, I either liked or loved most of the episodes. There was only one in there that I wasn't too much of a fan of. The last.
Ooh, okay. Do you know which one was it?
It's the one with Aaron Paul, Beyond the Sea.
Beyond the Sea. Yeah.
I found that one. I think a lot of people actually like that one. I just thought that one was a little too slow for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's the 3rd episode of the season. It's directed by John Crowley, who directed the film Brooklyn, nominated for Best Picture. Crazy, right?
So weird.
Yeah, so weird for sure. Shawn, let's get to you on your opinion on Black Mirror Season 6.
My opinion about this show is there's always every season there's going to be great ones and there's going to be some not great ones. I'm okay with that because it almost makes it fun. Like, this is a show that like really, makes your mind think. It gives you anxiety. It makes you scared. It takes you to weird, strange places. And that's what I love about Black Mirror. And I think that's why we all love it, you know? So I'm never expecting every season to be perfect. Was this season perfect? No. And I haven't watched all of them just yet. But I loved the Joan is Awful, the season premiere of this with Selma Hayek and Annie Murphy. I thought it was hilarious and extremely thoughtful, but also a great satire against Netflix. Like, literally, how did Netflix allow this to even happen? You know,
Greenberry. Was it Greenberry? Is that the name of the?
Yeah, it's brilliant. So there was some great episodes here. Is it the best season of Black Mirror? No, but I still loved it.
Yeah, so this season had 5 episodes. And I've got to say, Joan is Awful, the first one with Annie Murphy and Salma Hayek. I loved it. Immediately, I was into it. I said, "This season's going to be great. If every episode follows this, just like this, then I'm going to like this season of Black Mirror." I must say, I think Anthony is referring to me because I disagree that it is the best season. I also disagree that it is a great season. I have a hard time saying it's a good season.
Wow.
I just
I have a hard time.
Even that last episode?
Dude,
the last episode is terrible with Zazie Beetz.
I don't like it, Anthony. I don't like
it. No. I'm talking about
Demon 79. Demon 79. Directed by Toby.
I won't spoil.
Yeah. Demon 79, which is about the girl and the demon. It's directed by Toby Haynes, who directed a lot of episodes of Andor. So maybe that's why you liked it so much, Anthony, because I know you liked Andor. But I did not like Demon 79. I did think that's the last episode for anybody watching. I did think that Demon 79 was stylistic. I appreciated that about Demon 79. But by the end, it felt like new school American Horror Story to me.
Yeah.
Okay. And I did not like that. Maisie Day is the one that I think me and you just do. We're complete opposites here. That's the one with Zazie Beetz. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but Zazie Beetz is in it. It's kind of a commentary on paparazzi. And Anthony, me and Shawn don't like it. We don't want to gang up on you. We want to give you the floor for a second. What do you like about Maisie Day?
Okay. Here's why I think it works for me. First of all, it's I don't want to spoil. It's a departure from the tech focused. Pretty much the whole show has been tech like focused on tech. So it departs from that. Okay, fine. But maybe it's because I've seen enough. I've seen such a range of horror anthologies over the years, from going back from 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Where horror anthology, where it's cheesy, it's corny, Freddy's, whether it's like Freddy's Nightmares, all the way up to like my gold standard of Twilight Zone. So when I see this, I'm like, this fits in there. Is it a great Black Mirror? No, probably not. Is it just a fun sort of standalone horror story? Yeah, that's why it's working for me. That's why it's because of the big giant blob of everything else that I've previously seen in terms of horror anthologies and goofy stuff. That's why it's working for me. Maybe that's not fair, but that's why it works for me.
I think that's fair, actually. And I'm okay with them taking this series in a different direction. I don't think it always just has to do with technology, because that could get old. So I'm okay with them diverging. I just don't think that twist worked. I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can agree with that as well. Mr. Jace, let's talk about Black Mirror for a second. What's one of those episodes that just pop into mind that you love?
Just in general?
Yeah, sure. It could be in this. It could be this season if you want to mention it.
Well, I'll give a quick shout out to just the first episode for sure, right? I mean, that's just like, it got me sucked right back in. I was super happy because I was thrilled that Black Mirror was coming back. So I mean, and it's one of those that's kind of also why I'll take the misses with the swings. You always hope that all those swings lead to home runs, you know what I mean? But it's like, if a few are misses, it's like, I think though also the big reason why I'm willing to give it some forgiveness because of that is because it's an anthology series. Like, thank goodness you don't have to worry of like, well, this episode sucked. You now have to worry as far as like how it's going to move forward from there, right? You have to be like, oh, what are they going to do next episode to either like try and make up for this or whatever. Nope. just a whole new story, clean slate. Don't have to worry about it whatsoever. So anyway, that was just a lot of fun to have it come back in general. But for some reason, if I had to give a quick shout out to it, and you opened up the floodgates here, so I'll try to not, contain it. There's the one with Haley Atwell that I don't remember the episode name, but it was back, from the earlier seasons. That one is like always stuck out to me a lot. As far as like a very standout with, my gosh, such a dark ending. Like,
Donald Gleason's in that one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Not the darkest of endings, but just a dark enough one where it's just like when you realize what the ending is, you're just like, oh gosh, wow. That's where they're leaving it up. That's what happens at the end of everything. It was just also just kind of a really weird thing to think about as far as a real life situation. So also what I appreciate about the show is it kind of makes you think for a second. It's like, all right, that's obviously unrealistic enough to where I don't have to worry about considering that right now or even within, years to come. But it's also touching on the verge of like realistic enough to where it creeps you out just enough. Cause you're like, I can kind of see this, right? I know it's not a thing, but I can see this being a thing. Also, shout out to the episode where they got that thing in there where they can go back and replay like anything that they've ever done or whatever.
Yes, I love that episode.
Yeah, weird as can be.
Is that season 1? I feel like
it's season 1.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just in general, I'm kind of make it summarize shortly here. I'm just super thrilled the show's back. I obviously hope that they kind of continue with kind of in the better direction as with anything else, of course, but felt super thrilled that not just myself, that everyone else was kind of agreeing that this should collectively be within the top 5. Definitely makes sense it's at the bottom of the 5. But happy to see it back. I also just kind of want to see them come back and maybe just do some more episodes. 5 ain't enough. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I get that. I know, Dan, your favorite one is the Miley Cyrus one, right?
Yeah. So I've seen a few throughout the years, because it's cool because it's an anthology series. So some people could just pick, oh, this one sounds interesting, this one sounds interesting. And yeah, it's very cool to see. I've actually not watched the new season yet, but I want to. I want to see Jonas Awful, especially.
Yeah.
And I want to watch Beyond the Sea because my friends say they love it, and then you guys said you didn't like it. And
it's right in the middle.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Black Mirror, divisive. Let's go to number 4. Number 4. Our number 4 show of 20. Ooh, I'm excited. I forgot about this one. It is Poker Face, baby. Poker Face. Poker Face. Poker Face is a show on Peacock, and it is or was created by Ryan Johnson of Knives Out and Glass Onion fame, and boy, does it feel like it.
Yes.
I remember just watching the trailers for this show. I was excited, and I did feel that within the season, I'm like, I kind of don't know about this because there's this overarching story being told in this show that I found to be so interesting, and I was so intrigued and eager to finish that story. And every single episode for the past 10 weeks is a completely new case. There's a murder that happens, and Natasha Lyonne's character has to figure it out. And the fact that every new episode was a new cast, a new murder, and had nothing to do with the overarching story until we get to the last episode, of course, it almost felt repetitive to me. But Anthony, you said something that changed my mind on it, and that was that it felt like the series Columbo. I could be wrong. Is it Columbo?
I would say so. Absolutely.
Yeah.
At least from the first episode, definitely. That was.
So I did just the minuscule amount of research on Columbo, and I'm like, wait, okay, maybe I shouldn't be mad. Maybe I shouldn't be so impatient. This is the point. It's going to get to the point, and these stories are just some beautiful pieces of art. Anthony, you talked about Maisie Day in Black Mirror, about how it's standalone. You found it to be an interesting sci-fi tale. Yeah, that's what you could say about every episode of Poker Face. It's like a nice little Ryan Johnson movie.
Hey, I see what you did there.
So Anthony, since I mentioned you, take it away.
Well, unfortunately, with this show, I still have some more to go with it. But from the little bit that I've seen, I'm loving it so far. So, yeah, I mean, first of all, with the lead, I became familiar with her from a previous show that was on Netflix.
Orange is the New Black.
A Russian doll.
Oh,
Russian
Russian doll.
That's where I knew her from. Yeah, so I was like, so John, I think had recommended this. I checked it out. I fell in love with it. I do have to continue it, so I'm glad that you didn't mention too many spoilers, John. But yeah, dude, no, I was loving it. I wish I could say more about it, but I'm looking forward to continuing it. Put it that way.
No, yeah, for sure. And Shawn, I want to mention this and then pass it to you. Anthony, I've got to say, I can't wait till you get to episode 8 because Phil Tippett was involved in that episode.
Yes.
Wait,
Damn you took my segue.
I'm sorry, Shawn. What were you gonna say, Anthony?
No, I was gonna say, do we have some stop motion coming?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Okay. All right.
Yeah. He was involved in it. Shawn, take it away.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and that episode is one of my favorites too. It's so cool. It's about this director who's been working on this small project like Mad God for like these decades, and there's like a whole mystery surrounding it. So special episode. But that's what I like about this show. It is kind of like Black Mirror or any of those other shows. It's very they're standalone. So there's some episodes that are a little bit more interesting than others, but it's just always entertaining because Natasha Lyonne, just like this part was made for her. Yeah. And I think this show is so much fun. Like I said, not every episode's perfect, but there's nice little bookends where they start this story and end the story with the season. I can't wait for it to continue to kind of see where this character goes. So I don't know. I think this is a really good show, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on this show.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I hope that, I don't know if season 2 has been picked up, but when it does get picked up, I hope Rian Johnson stays on and he doesn't pull what the creator of American Horror Story did and just left it in new hands and started sucking. Yeah. I really hope he stays on board and he just oversees everything and gets involved. I mean, there are many episodes of Poker Face where Rian Johnson writes and directs.
Yeah. And those are some of the best ones.
I agree. I'll also say Natasha Lyonne, the lead of this show, she directed, I think, 1 or 2 episodes, and there's some of the best episodes too. She's great.
Yeah, she's great.
She's great behind the scenes.
And it would be remiss of us to not bring up all of the amazing cameos in this show.
How much time do you have?
Great actors that come on this show. It's just like such a surprise every episode. Like, who's going to be on it?
Adrian Brody, Hong Chow, Lil Ray Howery, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Nick Nolte. Geez, bro, I'm telling you, too many people.
Yeah.
Too many people.
No, but dude, and even that right there, that was a similar thing. Like, I know we'll move on to the next one, but Columbo back in the day was known for bringing in all the actors of the era from like the 70s and stuff. That they were all from that era too. So it's nice to see that this show is doing the same, where you have all these awesome cameos from like, current actors.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's for sure. Jace, Rian Johnson, man. I mean, how do you feel about him?
I don't think he necessarily deserves like complete hate because of the fact that he did one movie that I don't care for. Because he's also done other things that I do enjoy. I know. I'm sorry. I don't mean for those to be fight words.
Looper. You're talking about Looper, right? That's the one you're
Yeah. I do like Looper, actually. I really.
I know.
As a matter of fact, you could easily argue that I guess I just enjoy everything else he's done except for anything Star Wars related that he's touched. Which but no, with that, I do appreciate the fact that he's kind of like taken this in his own very personal, creative direction that seems to be working so well. I also like the fact that this is much more of a anthology-like series, and forgive me, I'm going off of good faith on this one. I will openly admit that I have been on to the point where I'm at the precipice of checking this out. I've seen clips of things, so that's anyway. But the intrigue is there, and I guess part of it you could say is from Rian Johnson's input for better or for worse, but a little bit for better in this case. I'm extremely curious as to see kind of like what his touch is that has made this show what it is, and kind of be something that is talked about as it is, and worthwhile enough to be in the top 5 here.
Yeah, for sure. Dan, have you seen any of the shows that Natasha Lyonne's been in? Russian Doll, Orange is the New Black. How do you feel about her as an actress?
Yeah. Well, so I know her from American Pie.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Nice.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
in that. Yeah.
yeah, I know. That's so
Wow.
funny to see her switch up, obviously, really, and be this really good actress. Russia Doll,
Yeah.
which I have seen. I have seen some of. I have not seen it all.
Oh,
and-
okay, cool.
Yeah. Just not much, but and then Orange is the New Black. I used to watch. Yeah, she's just a really good actress, a dynamic actress, and I love everything about having different cameos in all these different episodes of Poker Face, and how I'm a fan of Rian Johnson as well. I don't mind The Last Jedi, and I like Knives Out 1 and 2.
Yeah, those are cool
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. I appreciate that, Dan. All right. Let's get into our number 3 while our resident Lost in the Reel goes and takes a pee-pee break. Our number 3 film of the year is coming your way, ladies and gentlemen, and it is Jury Duty on Freevee. Yeah, so this is a show that Shawn told me to watch. I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. And then my wife was like, dude, people are talking about this show. And I was like, all right, I'll watch it. What do you want from me? It's free too. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
It's free. And I watched it. And I pretty much binged it.
Oh.
They're short episodes. They're about 30-minute episodes, maybe a little bit longer. But guys, you don't understand how innovative this show is. To anybody watching this that has not a clue what Jury Duty is about, there's a selling point for this show. The man in the picture above that is not translucent like the others is a real life person, and everybody around him are actors. And this man agreed to be on a show that is studying a certain jury and documenting that whole experience. And he thinks everything that is happening between these 8 episodes is real. But everybody around them are just acting and going off a script.
Ugh.
And it is hilarious, especially the last episode when they reveal everything to him and explain how it all came to be. It is hilarious. It is on Freevee. It is free to watch. I got it through Amazon Video. You can just download the Amazon Video app if you want. Just go and watch it for free. It's amazing. Shawn, thank you for bringing this show to my attention.
Yes. I love this show. Like, just seeing that picture of Ronald up there, like, makes me so happy. Anyone who's a fan of The Office or any of that really like dry, awkward, but like earnest humor, this show just pulls it off in such incredible ways. And the lead, this Ronald guy, like, they could not have picked a better person to like throw into this insane situation, because he's such a good-hearted human being. And the way that they celebrate him throughout the show, and in that last episode that John was talking about, where you literally get to see how they pulled off the entire like prank, which went on for weeks, and how they like hid cameras and like hid their staff and everything. It is so cool. I don't know if they'll ever be able to pull it off again, but I love this show. Also, that new movie No Hard Feelings that just came out with Jennifer Lawrence. The director of that movie is the creator of Jury Duty. So if you like No Hard Feelings, check Jury Duty out.
Did not know that.
Yeah, I did not.
Wow, it kind of fits. Like, now I'm seeing it fits. Those two fit. It's like a great double feature of sorts.
Yeah, there's a lot of heart mixed in with all of the crazy humor.
Raunchy comedy.
Yeah.
James Marsden jumping on a bed. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Dan, you just recently watched this show. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so you guys were trying to get me to watch it, and So the reason I didn't have an honorable mention for shows is because I'm so bad at getting into shows and watching them, and I was like, no, I'm not interested. Even, I mean, them telling me that it's like The Office and that doesn't get me interested. That's crazy because Office is my favorite show. And so one night I was in a bad mood and I just wanted to laugh. So I was like, okay, I'll start this. And yeah, I went to Amazon Prime, and I am so happy I started it because it's just so funny and sometimes unbelievable that Ronald really doesn't know that this is a filmed show. But and I mean, sometimes he does think, oh, maybe are we on a reality show? I thought that was really interesting. I love James Marsden because he makes fun of himself in this.
James Marsden plays himself.
Yeah.
So he's
like
like,
a
this is
horrible,
Cyclops.
Nasty version of James Marsden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this is the end how they're playing themselves, but they're playing
Yeah.
like cartoon versions. They're playing like bigger versions of themselves.
He's like, oh, I love doing X-Men and all these other movies. Oh, thanks, man.
And then because of the show, I was like, wait, is he in The Notebook? And he's not. But but no, I loved it. I thought it was so funny, and I loved the friendship that they made. And then that's why when it was not real, I was like, okay, and they still have the friendship at least, but it was like I loved it. I don't know. It definitely lived up to the hype, I think.
That's so good to hear from you, Dan. Jace, let me pass it to you for a second. Concerning everything we've been explaining about the show, is there another show you think that you would compare it to?
Eerily enough, yes. So I don't know if anyone has ever seen this. There was 3 seasons of it, and I did not see all 3 seasons. But back in the day, and I had to look it up real quick, I believe it first came out in 2003. Back on Spike Network, when that was a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Mansers.
The network for guys.
Mansers.
And this very much felt like a show that would fit for the network. But anyway, it was called the Joe Schmo Show. And the purpose of it was to take a guy and put him on what he did really think he was on a reality show. But the point was they filmed it to be like a reality show. But everybody else, except for him, was an actor. And they purposely were just trying to kind of almost embarrass him. Like they got kind of like a typical goofy-ish type of guy that seems almost like just gullible enough to get bought into any situation you want to throw him into. And to be fair, he does. And the actual very interesting and unique thing about the show, which sounds like it has a lot of similarities to this here as it's being described, because I have to finish it myself. But it seems as though right when the Joe Schmo Show, one of the big things that kind of like made it captivating was the fact that at one point they do something to try and mess with the guy, and they purposely vote off like his best friend on the show. And he's like completely traumatized by this. And long story short, they basically kind of like realize, hey, maybe we need to twist how we're doing the show. Maybe the point of the show shouldn't be just straight up embarrassing this guy. Maybe it should be more so of kind of showcasing and highlighting how interesting, unique, and good of a person he happens to be, even though he's just a regular good old Joe Schmo. And and it was a really unique twist. The other 2 seasons, from what I understand, tried to recapture that magic, and it just, you can kind of only pull that off once, which it sounds like, right, this is kind of maybe in a similar category. But yeah, it just seems like it had a lot of similarities to that regard, right? Just taking someone that they're the only person involved that doesn't realize that this is a scripted, put together thing, only to then kind of, have it maybe go a little bit different than even the people putting it together expected, but in good ways.
You would love this show, Jace. You would love this show.
I was gonna say, after hearing everything that I have, and again knowing that the people that from The Office are behind it and everything like that, I would love to see it through and through. I miss good old comedy stuff.
And I guess I'll end it here real quickly with Anthony. Do you think they would be able to get you in this type of prank?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I'm half awake. But I mean, but as far as what all you guys have mentioned, I did want to say it sounds incredible. I have to catch up on this show, absolutely. And you had me at Office, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, let's get it, baby. Cool. So yeah, hopefully people will get on the train.
They would get me, but I would love to be. But like I want jury duty.
They would get you
on this, but I don't want jury duty. And this should count as jury duty if you're. But
let's move on to number 2. Number 2. Let's see what we got to say about The Last of Us, baby.
Oh my god.
Eric is like number 2.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start. Let's see. How can I open the floor up to this show? It is, I think, still the biggest show of the year, The Last of Us. And I've got to say that I adored this show. It's my number 2 show of the year, I believe, number 2 or 3 overall. They did just such a great job. As somebody who hasn't even played the video games, I went into this completely blind, not knowing the characters, what they're about, or what the world's about. It kind of just looked like The Walking Dead. I had some hesitation. I think I was 3 weeks late to watching it. But when that hype kept rolling and HBO Max was putting out their numbers saying, dude, this show is like getting us more subscribers every single week instead of dropping off like most shows do. This is gaining. All right, let's see what this is all about. And I got to say, incredible. This is, man, I guess we could say Emmy worthy, but I almost want to say Oscar worthy. How good it is.
Yeah.
The writing, the acting, the direction in each episode. I've got to say, I know front and center we see Pedro Pascal, but Bella Ramsey is my shining star. She is the very best thing about The Last of Us, especially incredible, especially the episode where she gets, this is not a spoiler, but she gets kind of taken by like this weird Christian fundamentalist cult. She should win all the awards just for that episode alone. I must also admit that I think this is a better first season than the first season of The Walking Dead.
I would agree.
Yeah, I'd agree too.
Yeah. Let's go to Jace. You saw The Last of Us, correct?
Yeah. Although, forgive, it's still not the very end of it. I know. I'm so sorry. But the tail end of it. But anyway, it's something where I've never played the games either. But so I can't really say this fairly. But I would like to still throw out and start off with, it feels as though they definitely tried their best. And for many people that I know that have played the games, really feels like they tried their best to stay pretty faithful to the source material here. And, it's making me want to play the game since that's the case, right? Yeah. Because I definitely enjoy as far as what they had within here. And if the source material is like the show, then I feel I'm going to be a big fan of the game. Pedro Pascal is always fun to watch, man. It's great to see him do his thing. I especially appreciate that he's getting a little bit more shine when, in like The Mandalorian, he can basically just kind of only, appreciate his voice. Yeah. More than anything else, especially in this most recent season where he doesn't show his face once.
Because of the show, actually.
Yeah, wonder why that is. Cough, cough. But nonetheless, I will say, I don't want to completely go off the rails with it. I'm sorry, Bella Ramsey. I think, she's a great addition. I think that there's not many people that I would know of who to replace her with, but on the verge of kind of like agitating sometimes, I mean, maybe that's to be her character. I'm on
the verge of taking you out of the stream.
Yo, fisticuffs have to fly over a little girl. Let's
Whoa.
John, you're the one that started it, man. I mean, I'm not don't, right? I'm just saying what's happening here.
And I'm the one to end it. Let's continue.
No, all right. But no, it's one of those where, again, like I said, I wouldn't even know who to replace her with, right? I still think she holds her own. It's definitely a compelling performance nonetheless.
Yeah.
And yeah, I will say this, though. If they are to stay faithful to the source material as they have been, then I'm not spoiling anything, even trying to for myself or for anybody else, but it doesn't seem like things are going to be looking too swell for Mr. Pedro in season 2.
Don't say anything.
That's right. I will leave it at that, but
that's all you
maybe,
have to say.
Maybe it's like a Game of Thrones thing where it's just like, don't get too attached to anybody in particular. Including main characters?
They stray from the source material sometimes, so you never know.
Well, Anthony, have you checked out Last of Us?
I did a bit of a binge watch thing on this, so it's just a bleak blob in my head. But it's a good bleak blob.
Ooh, a bleak blob.
It's a good bleak blob. So I think first and foremost is Pedro Pascal. It's because as Star Wars nerds, we're just so used to hearing that great distinct voice of his. It's great to just see him here, just perform and just doing his thing. And I think that's just great. I mean, it's a very bleak series. I don't mean to hound on that too much, but so it sort of is what it is. I feel like after I'm done with this, I need to go watch some Bill Burr or some comedy or something.
Take a
like
bath.
that. Maybe it's like a bad mix of this and Black Mirror, and it's just like okay. But still, it's excellent. What more can I say about it? It's just and I'm looking forward to a rewatch too, because I feel like sometimes, and not just this show, but any show, whenever I binge watch too much, everything kind of bleeds together a little bit. So I have to appreciate the show episode by episode. So I'm looking forward to a rewatch on this one, actually.
Okay, cool. Shawn, how are you?
I'm good, John. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you feeling knowing that The Last of Us is our number 2 show of the year?
Yeah, I am like Jace. I have not finished Last of Us, and I have a bunch of coworkers who always are like, "Have you finished it? Have you finished it?" But I haven't. I'm going to at some point in my lifetime. But one thing that I will say about this show is the episode with Murray Bartlett and Nick Offerman. I think for me showed me, and not just because it's a gay episode. Because
it's a gay episode?
Yeah. But because it showed that this show was trying to do something different and like tell intimate stories in this epic timeline and this setting and everything. Like tell intimate stories and character like have these really character evolved stories. So that's what really brought me on to The Last of Us. Yes, I need to finish it, but I do think there's a lot of special things about this show.
Wasn't that such a great example, though, of how you can go off track, if you even want to call it off track in the show, and it can work well. Like, I actually think that, without making a drawn out thing here, but Mandalorian this season actually had a perfect example of how that doesn't work, right? There was an episode that was fully dedicated to other side characters that, if they would have continued things differently, perhaps, it could have panned out into something, but it really just feels like a waste by the time the season's done, because it meant nothing. It did nothing. It was very close to being nothing. But this, complete and polar opposite, right? It's something where does it tie in ways to stuff later? Yes, but it's by all means a encapsulated story, but you're not mad at it. It's not like, what the heck am I watching right now? Why are you showing me this? It's like, hey, this is good. This is good TV. So I'll take it.
It's good TV. Get out of my room, Mom. Dan, have you played the video game?
No, no, but like I played like for a half hour before, or like an hour. My friend was playing, and he just let me take the controls for a little bit. And
how many Pedro Pascals would you rate out of 5?
I don't know. So like Jace, why are you asking me that? Sean's the one that does he used to do the props. Yeah. But anyway, so I like Jason, Sean. I have like another episode or two, but but no, I really did love what I saw so far. I was apprehensive of starting a show like I am for anything, especially not a comedy, because it's just hard for me to get into, and I never really played the game. From what I played of the game and from what I watched my friend, this does seem to fit the game a lot. And I wasn't in love with the first episode, but I started to really grow to like it. I liked that episode with Nick Offerman, and but probably because it was gay. Maybe no. So I thought it was a great story, but I think I would have liked it less if it was a straight. Anyway, it would have been different.
Well, I love your honesty, at least.
It wouldn't have been any different. Anyway, but
where is this conversation going?
Anyway,
down the drain.
Like Jason was saying, is it changed because that's not all in the game. You just really see the character, and you don't get his backstory or anything. So I thought they did a good job with that. And yeah, I just really love the visuals and the costume and the the visual effect designs and all of that. Yeah, so I'm enjoying it so far. I have to get back into it.
Cool. cool stuff, Dan. You know, I love your takes, no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, I'm being kind of sarcastic with that, but
Whether they, yeah, well,
Serious.
whether
It's amazing you tolerate us straights.
yeah,
Oh,
my friends, let's pull this conversation from the drain. Let's talk about our number one. Our number one show of 2023 is Netflix's Beef. Shawn.
Arby's, we
Take-
got the beef.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Oh wait, that's Farmers. Take it away, Shawn.
oh my God, I love this show.
Oh yeah. Why do you love
this
this
is
show so much?
This is the only thing this year I've given a perfect score. And I know everyone's gonna have different opinions about it, so that's okay. And everyone's gonna say, different things about the last episode or the second to last episode. But for me, this is like the one piece of entertainment I was sucked in from the very beginning, and it taps in to what we are going through as a culture, what we're going through as a society in America, our anger problems, our depression problems, our mental health problems, and it does it in such a funny freaking way. And the two leads, Steven Yeun and Ali Wong, are just absolutely brilliant here. And I love this show. Do I think the last episode could have been better? I do. I think there should have been one extra episode afterwards to really tie it up in a much better way. But besides that, I think this is a brilliant show.
I wish I wrote a review for this show so I have some points to go off of, but this is going to be off the dome. I as well love this show. It is my number one show of the year. It is also produced by A24, which is crazy. I didn't even know they did shows. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know they produce shows until I looked into it, and they produce a lot of shows. This just happens to be one of them.
Euphoria.
Euphoria, yeah. The Idol, let's not talk about that. But Beef, on the other hand, wow. Steven Yeun, Ali Wong. I don't like Ali Wong as a comedian. I'm going to be straight up. I don't like her as a comedian.
What were the words that just came out of your mouth?
You heard me. You heard me. You heard me. But hold on.
She's literally my favorite comedian of all time. She's incredible. Don't listen to him.
We'll have another stream. We got beef.
Got to throw fisticuffs over a little girl.
We got beef. Me and Shawn got beef. But I thought she did very well in the show, Shawn. I've got to say, she did very well in the show. And I mean, if the Emmys want to nominate her, I ain't gonna fight that. I'm not gonna fight that at all. The both of them did incredible. Here's what I loved about this show is that it takes a very serious topic, and it's mental health. I mean, more specifically, it's about depression. And we see two different worlds that depression inhabits. We see the world of trying to get by. And we also see the world of being better off because I make a lot of money. I make millions of dollars. And yet these two people meet and they have beef now because of a road rage incident. And they're struggling with the same stuff, depression, mental health issues, and how that ruins their life and it ruins the lives around them. And this is done in a satirical way where it's serious, but it still pokes fun at these situations going around you, where you're not just wallowing in your depression and you're not just feeling bleak like The Last of Us. You're laughing through it all.
Yeah.
In a very tasteful way, too, I got to say, in a very tasteful way. Fast forwarding to the last episode. This is the one that gets a lot of division, and I myself am divided in it. I think that it needed one more episode to tie up loose ends because I still don't think loose ends are tied. I don't. This episode could very well have a second season, I feel, just because how many loose ends they left open. But the episode isolated as a season finale, just isolated, it's good. It's a good episode that digs deep into what it means to understand each other aside from all this beef. It even goes into like the astrophysical where they start talking in each other's voices and thinking each other's thoughts and reading each other's minds. And it's almost this commentary on, we are getting to know each other so well now that it's crazy to admit, but me and you are the exact same person, to the point where I have your voice and you have my voice.
Mm-hmm.
I love that type of meta commentary to that final episode, but it's just the loose ends that they weren't able to tie up. Shawn, maybe you can enlighten me here. Has there been talks about a season 2?
There has, very lightly. I know how great this show has been doing critically, and also it was in the top 10 for a while on Netflix. So I think it's something that they're definitely talking about, but it could end up being a anthology, which is what I've heard. So kind of tackling the same kind of subject matter, depression, mental health, in a satirical way, but with different stories. So we'll see where that goes. But either way, I love this. I love the show.
I completely agree. Man, I want to pass it to like Jace and Dan. You guys need to watch the show. You would love it.
Dan has seen the show.
What? Dan, you've seen the show?
It's Dan's #1 show of the year.
Dan, you surprise me every day. You know that?
Yeah. So yeah, A24 was A24 was a huge reason I watched it, and just the hype that it got so big on Netflix. And so I watched it. Yeah, I'm not huge on the big last episode either. It would have been better, you know, if it, like a penultimate episode. Yep. Yeah. But no, I thought the cast was great. You know, the leads are just so good, and I love that it shows, you know, how one road rage incident can affect your life, and it also shows how much connection we have with people that we don't know that we have connection. Yeah. So I really appreciated that, and it does it in a funny way as well. A lot of drama, a lot of funny, and it mixes those and balances those, I think, very well.
Wow, Dan, always surprised me. You know that? You beautiful man. Jace, you were gonna say something before Dan so rudely interrupted you.
No. That was way too funny though. When you're just like, Dan, you surprise me every day. Yeah. And then there's just that perfect pause right before.
I didn't know he was gonna say something else. I'm so
But the one thing I can comment on, and I threw out earlier about how much I've been missing comedies, and you know, I don't feel I'm alone in that particular statement. I think that there's a lot of people who can say that they kind of miss just having a good old laugh for the sake of having a good old laugh. There we go. There's Anthony. And you know, especially considering a subject like such, you should be able to have some platform like this where you can laugh and know it's okay to laugh at it.
Yeah.
You know, there is so much sensitivity in walking on eggshells with anything that may be looked at in a comedic fashion, because, you know, on the off chance that somebody else does not think it's comedic, is, you know, especially if they think it's offensive or whatever. But that's, at the end of the day, from day one, I feel like comedy has always been a very much back and forth battle of what is found to be offensive or not, right? Like roasting people has been something I feel like has been back since medieval times with like jesters and everything. And at the end of the day, though, you know, it's funny stuff. Why is it funny? Because it's like poking fun at just enough of a truthful thing that, you know, you can kind of detach yourself from a moment from it, and it's nice to be able to do that. You know, it's so again, I appreciate that that's what this show seems to be bringing. And that I hope that it kind of inspires like more to go in that area. We should deserve to, as much as we treat things as seriously as we do on such a regular basis. And sure, it's right. There's a lot of important things that that deserve to be treated like such. Maybe, you know, maybe we go a little too off the rails sometimes, but to each their own. But with this, you know, it's just nice to have something where, again, can kind of like focus on that subject, not make it so off the walls to where you have to feel like afraid of laughing at it, right? You can feel good about laughing at it. We need more stuff like that.
Yeah.
I agree, Jace.
Okay. I was going to ask Shawn, anything to add? I saw your mouth open.
Yeah. So I mean, it does go off the walls. I'm not gonna lie, but
It does.
also I think
The penultimate episode goes off the walls.
is utterly insane. But you
Yeah.
captured something that is what's so great about the show is that Beef captures the humor and universal pain. And we
Yeah.
all have these shared experiences of like just being angry for silly reasons and like not loving what our situation in life is. And it makes fun of those things. And in some weird way, there's like, you feel like you're at home with this show because it's talking about things that we have all felt and it makes fun of us for feeling those things.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, what a good show! I want to rewatch it.
Yeah.
That says
So,
something.
Me
guys,
too, I would be
these are our 5 best shows of 2023. At number 5, Black Mirror season 6 on Netflix, 5 episodes. Number 4, we got Poker Face available on Peacock. That's 10 episodes. Number 3, Jury Duty. It's free on Freevee, 8 episodes. 2, The Last of Us, 9 episodes on Max. And at number 1, we got Beef, 10 episodes on Netflix. So please go ahead, do yourself a favor, check these shows out. Please.
Yes.
So with that being said, we are moving into our very last section, which won't be as long, right? The reason you were here was for that middle section, but we want to leave you with a little dessert. The most anticipated projects for the Cinema Squad. Ooh, baby. We're talking about shows. So let's talk about shows. Let's continue that ball and we'll end on film. So our 5 most anticipated shows for 2023 are as follows. At number 5, X-Men 97. At number 4, we got The Continental. Number 3, Ahsoka, baby. At number 2, we got season 3 of Only Murders in the Building. And at number 1, season 2 of Loki. Maybe the return of the Loki live stream. We'll talk about it. So let me pass it to Anthony. Touch on one of these, man.
All right, so I guess I'll start with, let's see. Boy, God, everything's looking good here. All right, let me start with X-Men. X-Men 97. God, I mean, so I definitely kind of grew up with these X-Men 90s cartoons, and also this particular Jim Lee was drawing the X-Men in the 90s, and these are basically his costumes. These are his renditions. He's one of my favorite artists. So it's just wonderful to see love for these characters and to see that they're going to be back, and we're continuing the story from a show that I just never thought that this would happen. I won't rant too much, and I just want to jump over also to I'll leave the Star Wars to Jace or John, but Continental. I wanted to bring that up before, but I figured we were going to be getting to this point. It just seems like the perfect spinoff. It feels like maybe we should have even gotten this like before. I'm wondering if this is going to lead into like a John Wick 5. I'm guessing that's the plan.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that they'll bring up characters in the Continental that we may see in a John Wick 5 or whatever other films, the ballerina, if that's still happening.
Yeah.
I do feel like it'll be nice. I think the movies will reward the viewers of the Continental, but it's not going to be necessary watch.
Yeah. So
what are your thoughts on Mel Gibson being one of the leads in the Continental?
That's news to me. I didn't even know that.
Mel Gibson is one of the leads.
It's star power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
and Lance Reddick, I know, has a couple of scenes in this as well, so this will be his last.
Oh, that's so nice to hear.
Yeah.
Oh, let's switch it to number 1.
Well, Mel Gibson it's just the controversy and some of the things that he's said and done in the past that's the issue. I don't think anybody's ever questioned the guy's skill or anything like that, or his ability to act.
He fits this franchise.
I'm sorry, what was that?
He fits the franchise too.
Yeah.
I can see. Yeah.
So it's going to be a matter of that. It's like, can people focus on just the work that he's doing now, as opposed to some of the things from the past, which it's understandable to have issues with.
If people can watch Ezra Miller as the Flash, Anthony,
True.
Thank you.
they'll do almost, they'll probably be able to forgive this.
Well, talking about Ezra Miller. Let's switch on over to another Ezra Bridger, because season 5 of
I
Rebels.
was like,
oh,
what?
sorry. I mean, Ahsoka is happening, Jace.
Dude, other than that, that was an awesome segue. So
Yeah, that was perfect.
Jace, let's talk about Ahsoka for a
I left
second
it for you.
here and answer this question: are we going to see Ezra Bridger?
100%. And in case we missed it, he was in the trailer. That is very, very light. I mean, you know what I mean. It's a very small snippet tease because he's actually just the what's it called, the projection, the hologram projection. So you know what I mean. But nonetheless, right? He's shown. Yeah, it's funny because actually, as of recent interviews, Rosario Dawson actually mentioned that she herself was like, yeah, this is basically like just Rebels season 5. Like Dave Filoni basically refers to this as Rebels season 5. And I am totally okay with that. It very much fits. Like, for anyone that may think that it'd be something to be like wary of or upset by, don't be. Ahsoka ties so well into like the entire Rebel series that it just makes perfect sense for this to be a continuation of it. And honestly, I'm cool with them taking it more from her perspective instead of just calling this Rebels and us needing to think that, hold on, I have to watch 4 seasons of an animated show first in order to watch this. Although it's kind of still like that, but I'm sure they'll keep it detached enough where you'll be able to enjoy this by itself. But super excited for it. My favorite droid from all of Star Wars is about to come to live action.
Chopper, baby.
That's right. He's who's voiced by Dave Filoni, by the way.
Yeah.
And is the only droid to drop an F-bomb ever. And there's the moment where he literally is just like, someone says something, he's like, what the fuck? That's great. It's great. Listen closely enough, you can hear it. But yeah, anyway, I'm super stoked for it. I'm extremely excited that Dave Filoni himself has got such creative control over this entirely. The man is just like, I've said before, George Lucas reincarnated, it feels like. He's like the son that he never had. And just, the dude gets Star Wars. Like, he just understands it. So out of all the projects that they have coming out for what's going to be recent, that's my most one that I'm anticipating the most. Also, huge shout out. I'm sorry, I can't help it, but like X-Men 97 and Loki, I'm really stoked for those. I cannot believe that X-Men the animated series is coming back. I remember not too long ago I got a chance to go to a like, they did a superhero museum type of thing, and they had the X-Men animated series, like little bits of it in there. I was like, I can't believe, like, this is so crazy. It's made it into a museum, and now that it's like coming back, and it's just, my mind, as far as from a kid's perspective, is like, you know, like I'm growing up all over again.
Shawn, you had mentioned in our group chat that you were a big fan of the original X-Men from the 90s,
Yes.
correct?
Absolutely.
Admittedly, I haven't even seen more than like 5 episodes of the original series.
Okay.
Yeah, so convince me, why should I be so excited for 97?
I mean, there's so many different reasons. At least for me, X-Men, the original 90s cartoon, is the reason that I fell in love with superheroes to begin with, and why I was so excited for the X-Men franchise to be turned into a live action thing. And then obviously we've seen where it's come now. But X-Men 97, there's just something exciting about bringing those designs back, that era back. And also, this is the first time Disney is going to show us what they can do with the X-Men, because we haven't seen anything else from Disney yet on the X-Men. So there's so many different reasons to be excited about this. But nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, I hope it's good, but I'm excited. As for the Continental, I mean, we just talked about John Wick, and I'm excited for them to take it in different directions, whether that be with Mel Gibson or with Ana de Armas in Ballerina. But I think this is a really cool, different kind of prequel idea that they're coming up with. And then also the guy who did From Hell and Book of Eli, Albert Hughes, is the creator of this Continental show. So we got an interesting visual artist kind of doing the Continental. So I'm excited about that. But for sure, my most excited is Only Murders in the Building. This is my happy place show, and we have Meryl Streep coming in for season 3. I love true crime. I love this cast. I can't wait.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Only Murders in the Building, do yourself a favor before season 3 and catch up on the first 2 seasons. They are so witty and funny and lovely. It's a lovely show. I think that's the best word. It's so lovely. Steve, Martin Short, Selena Gomez are arguably the best trio in TV history, or at least up there on a list.
Yeah. And also these mysteries too in both seasons are like actually captivating mysteries that are unpredictable. And that's what I've liked about both seasons. Like I did not see where these seasons were going. So if they can keep that up, then keep this show going.
And Dan, we haven't heard a lot from you, but I saved Loki for you. Loki's coming back for season 2, and we're gonna get Kane the Conqueror in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I'm excited for Loki to return, especially if the Loki gang returns for their streams. And I'm excited to see where they go with Kang and everything, especially how they're gonna handle the Jonathan Majors stuff. But no, I'm excited. I'm really excited for the Continental because I think that just the world of John Wick in general is a really big world that you can expand. And the Ballerina, I'm excited for. I think with the Continental and the Ballerina, they should stick away from John Wick because I think after that ending, they should end that and then just do more in the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why I'm excited for the Continental. X-Men '97. I watched the old one as a kid. I like you, John. I haven't probably seen that many episodes. I've maybe seen more than you, but like, I'm just excited for because I love X-Men. And yeah, Only Murders in the Building. I'm not caught up with, but I do like what I've seen so far.
Yeah, for sure. But dude, I'm so stoked for Loki. I mean, I really hope that Loki, just like Loki kind of shift gears of what Phase 4 ended up becoming, I hope it also shifts gears about what Phase 5 is going to end up becoming.
Because my friends and I were talking about it today. It's like most of the Disney Plus shows, Marvel shows, like the ending is, the finale is like, not ruins it, but it's more superhero-ish.
Yeah.
The finale for Loki is not. I think we did a good job.
It's like we are going to write the script for the rest of this saga. That's the Loki show, and I really hope it continues it. And again, like you mentioned, the Loki game's gonna come back. I hope we can all do a weekly roundup and maybe add in some of you guys. I mean, Anthony, I know you're a big superhero head, so I want you on, man.
Absolutely. No, that sounds like a blast. That sounds really fun. The first season was just such a pleasant surprise. It really was. I don't think I was really too hyped about Loki, and then I found myself, I pretty much got into it, and as I recall, I enjoyed most of those episodes.
Yeah. And for anybody watching, we talked about this on our previous Star Wars streams, but the Star Wars guys, I don't know, we'll come up with a better name. We're going to be also recapping Ahsoka when that comes out as well.
That would be fun. Yeah,
Definitely. Absolutely.
All right, are you guys ready to reveal our top 5 most anticipated films?
Darn tootin'.
You better say yes. All right.
Yes.
Yes.
At number 5, we got Wonka. At 4, Barbie. At 3, Oppenheimer. At 2, Killers of the Flower Moon. And our most anticipated film as a collective, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Let's get it. Guys, I'm a little surprised here. Just a few days ago, I found out Wonka's a musical.
Oh, yeah, because they saw Timothy Chalamet singing and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Didn't know that either.
Didn't know that.
Remove it from the top 5.
I was going to say,
remove it now.
I know we're okay with musicals, right?
No, I
love musicals.
I love
I was ready
musicals.
for this to be a musical, though.
I mean, Barbie's going to be musical-like. Not musical, but like a lot of dancing.
Well, and the original Willy Wonka's got, so
it makes sense. Yeah.
If it's as much of a musical as the original Willy Wonka is, then I think I'm okay with that, because that's not like taking it too far in the musical direction.
I also know Timothy Chalamet could sing. But.
I would love this.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you guys would love it. Would you love a rendition of Pure Imagination?
Yeah.
It was kind of connected though. Like you would then have to say that he becomes a Gene Wilder Willy Wonka, then, right?
Oh my God, that's such sacred ground to
right.
You'll probably at least have some pop star or some big name sing a rendition of it.
No.
Like in the end credits. It's gonna be Dua Lipa. Speaking about Dua Lipa, Barbie, it's just a few weeks away alongside Oppenheimer at our number 3. Now, I'm going to ask this question. Are we all doing a double feature? But if you're not, which one are you seeing then? I'm doing a double feature. That's it. I'm doing a double feature. But Jace,
double feature.
What about Jace?
Jace.
This is probably going to surprise you, but I'm probably going to see Barbie first.
Oh, bro, you know what? You get the screen, my friend.
I deserve it this time, everybody. I got it. I got John to give me the screen. It was good while it lasted.
Wow, Barbie, I'm surprised.
You can absolutely thank my wonderful girlfriend Nassim for that, because don't get me wrong, I am at the point where I would like to see it anyway. Okay, that is a for sure. However, I don't know. I would probably lean as far as toward seeing Oppenheimer first, and most likely, But at the same time, I'm truly, it's not that big of a thing. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I can't even fathom seeing Barbie first. It's like, oh yeah, right. I was gonna see it anyway, so let's go. But yeah, it's shifted because of that, and I think I'm quite all right with that. Right? Let's go ahead and see what this darn thing's all about, because it was something that, as you guys know, I was on the fence for a while. All the teaser trailers for Barbie did absolutely nada for me. I was like, what's going on here? The most recent trailer, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and beat the dead horse here on purpose. Yeah, I'm glad Nassim's excited for that. But I am glad to see more and more comedies starting to, get their way back into things. And this, again, seems to be pointing a lot of signs towards it just being like a good comedy. You know what I mean? So I'm willing to drop any prior judgment that I was starting to build up of like, what the heck is this supposed to be about? Now I'm kind of like, yeah, all right, I'm on board. Let's see. Right? I'm going in with low expectations, but on board.
Nice, man. I'm so excited that it finally won you over to an extent, of course, to an extent.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll win me over like a lot once I see it, right? You never know. Maybe I'll walk away and favorite movie of the year.
Now, Anthony, I want to pass it to you for a second. Sure. That day, July 21st, are you taking your kids to see an adult-ish version of Barbie or a brooding tale about the guy that made the nuclear bomb?
I think Daddy's going to be alone in the theater that day. We sure Sonic 3 isn't out or something?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
I mean, you know what it is? Like, I look at this list and just everything here, like, I legitimately am looking forward to it. Even Barbie, I think I was somewhat like Jace on this one. At first, it was just like, oh, okay. But now, like, it's just such a weird, bizarre thing. Like, now, we'll see how it turns out. Hopefully, it's as good as, like, we're all hoping, right? I mean, that's the case with everything here. I guess I lean toward Oppenheimer. It just seems like a very important story, and we haven't quite touched on it too much in film. So I lean toward that one, just for myself.
No, I got you. I must say, man, I'm also looking at these films here, and not only am I excited for them, but Killers of the Flower Moon is calling my name and whispering in my ear sweet nothings. Mr. Martin Scorsese, I sure hope that your film just... I hope so. I hope the hype is real. I know a lot of people that saw it in Cannes, they came out and said, oh, I guess it wasn't like the best movie ever, but with time, people go, but it's still good. It's still good. It's still good. Like, don't get, like, it's still a good movie. Just don't think it's going to be like The Godfather Part 2 or anything like that. But it's good. It's good. And so I'm happy that I have that in my mind. Because when Killers... Yeah, you got it, Shawn.
I think it's like a past life situation with you almost. That's kind of what I'm gathering from the fans and everybody who's seen it at Cannes. They first got out of the movie and they're like, oh, well, we could have tweaked this and I would have liked to seen that differently. But then the more they've thought about the film, I think the more that it's settled in with them, I think they've loved it. I think, so...
No, yeah, for sure. And I hear great things about De Niro. I think more exciting than seeing Leonardo DiCaprio, one of my favorite actors, on screen again, would be to see De Niro here, because people are saying it is his best role in years. Years. He is the front runner as of July to win Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars. That would be incredible if he campaigns himself enough and continues that ball moving and really wins his next Oscar at such a higher age.
Yeah.
And this has been a movie that Martin Scorsese has wanted to do for quite some time. It's been on his docket for like a decade. It was supposed to come out last year, and now it's finally coming out this year. And I don't know. Yes, it's a 3.5 hour long crime epic about a misrepresented or underrepresented group of people. But I don't know. I'm so excited for this film. I think it's going to be an epic.
Yeah, that's what I kind of see it like that as well. An epic. Dan, have you seen every single Mission Impossible movie?
No, I actually have not.
Get out of my stream.
I've seen nothing before Ghost Protocol.
But But how are you? Are you excited for Dead Reckoning? Again, this is a collective. Are you excited for Dead Reckoning?
Yeah, because I loved Fallout so much.
Yeah,
the action in Fallout was so good, and so I'm very excited for Dead Reckoning, and I know it's not like the same, but Tom Cruise brought it with Top Gun Maverick last year, and just is such a big proponent for cinema. So I think that this is probably going to be a really fun movie in the cinema.
I seriously hope so too.
Yeah.
I must say we made this list a little over a week ago or about a week ago. And since then, I guess people who have seen early screenings of Mission Impossible have seen the movie. Have you guys heard about this?
Yep.
Yes.
It is not going to be the best in the series.
Hmm.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
Well, I think we also need to think about what we were just talking about with Spider-Verse. And how it's a part one. This is part one to the finale of this Tom Cruise franchise. So I've heard incredible things about it. I've heard some whispers like what you were talking about, John. But at the end of the day, I've heard enough great things about it that it's not making me scared for it. Not like how Indiana Jones, the word out of Cannes and everything like that.
Yo, Indiana Jones is off to a horrible start at the box office.
Yeah.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah, like horrible. I think the last time I looked, they're projecting a possible total of 60 million over the weekend for.
That's how it got. Yeah, that's how much it got.
Yeah.
On
okay.
a budget of $295 million.
Like one of the most expensive.
Yeah, and that's from what I understand, just the budget of the film. I don't believe that's the budget for the marketing and advertising afterwards.
That's just the movie.
The cans, that doesn't even count the premiering in the cans. Yeah.
Oh my God! So what? You can slap at least another minimum of what 100, maybe even 150 million on top.
At least.
Oh my God! I didn't even know this.
Yeah. No, I feel it's one of those where even though I think it's gonna be bad, I'm trying to still go in with an open mind. But like I feel horrible for it though. It's just like, oh my gosh, right? I'm not even trying to say like, hey, no, maybe we shouldn't be so hard on the movie. No, if the movie's bad, right, the movie's bad. But it's just like, oh my, it's been brutal with some things in the box office lately with a lot of movies. Sorry to start a whole nother subject. It's just kind of sad to see. Yeah,
we could talk about that for another hour and a half. But it's true what you're saying.
Yeah. Keep going to the theaters, people.
Please. Yes. It's the best way to see film. Yeah, it's the best way. It's forget about please support it. Please support it. It's been a tradition for F that. It's the best way to see a film.
Yeah. And they need to stop like the weekend of saying this will be on streaming in 3 weeks.
Yes.
I know. Yeah.
Fast
Seriously.
X.
Yeah, that's not helping anything or anybody. I mean, granted, I don't miss the days when it was like 6 months before we could see a movie at home, but at the same time, there's a happy medium somewhere in between this. Like, what incentive do I have to go see something if I'm like half interested? If I know it's going to be on some platform streaming in a few weeks, But hopefully, Mr. Tom Cruise at our number one will change the game just like he did for Maverick.
Yeah,
he's got that passion for it.
Is that Maverick kind of vibe with this? Yeah,
I truly hope. I mean, if anybody can do it, it's Tom Cruise.
It's true.
He's proven it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
No doubt.
My friends, if we have nothing else to say, I would love to wrap this up.
Yes.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice. My friends, what a talk we have had tonight, huh?
Yeah.
Loved it.
Indubitably.
Indubitably. Thank you to everybody watching and to everybody in the chat who participated in the discussion. I would like to shine a light on my peers and give them a little bit of a shout out. Mr. Shawn,
Hello.
what should we be expecting from your channel as of late?
I'm kind of taking it a little bit easy right now. I have a lot of stuff going on at work, but I'm trying to do my best, concentrate on movies that I'm like, and TV shows that I'm actually really excited about. I was kind of like going overboard with like just trying to review as much as possible, but now I kind of want to cover things that I'm excited about talking about, So that's going to be what's on the horizon. I do have a lot of exciting ideas. So just make sure to check out Lost in the Reel. Hopefully you'll find some hidden gems on there.
For sure. I second everything you just said. Let's pass it on to somebody who in just a few months will probably be too cool to be part of the squad. Mr. Fever Dreamland Theater. Man, need to slow down.
I hope I remain uncool.
Me too. Me too.
You know what I mean. Well, first of all, guys, awesome being with you all again tonight. Subscribe to Fever Dreamland Theater. I talk about Twilight Zone. I talk about the horror
That was the most New York thing I ever heard you say. Subscribe to Fever Dreamland Theater. I talk about Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Be well.
Yes, take care. Be well. So the channel is moving along. Very happy. I will let me just do a few plugs. I did a recent collaboration with Rainbow Fright, somewhat recent, where we talked about our favorite moments and that got us into horror movies. So you guys can check that out if you want. And even more recently, I did a Twilight Zone collaboration with Grande from Grande's Graveyard. So that's up on his channel right now. And on my channel, we're voting once again for Twilight Zone episodes for me to review next. So we're moving along. I'm happy. I'm still into it, loving it, and all is well.
Ooh, nice.
Basically, he's cheating on us, guys.
No.
What a cheater!
Oh, yeah.
What a give me that mustache. Jace, I'd like to pass it to you. I know you haven't done anything as of late, but I know there's a lot of stuff on your channel that people can go back and watch.
Yeah, of course. Always homework to be done for sure. I will at least throw out there without making any extended promises that a return is inevitable. That is for sure in capacity as far as reviews and skits. Actually, as a matter of fact, there's a few things simmering on the horizon that again I don't want to kind of like say for sure anything because I want to let it just build itself up, and then when it happens and everything. But and I can only hope that there's people that are wondering what's been going on. But if you have, then thanks, and just know that there will be something as far as probably sooner than you think. And if you have not gotten a chance to check anything out, then would super appreciate as far as you hopping over there. You can probably tell from the way I was trying to just throw it out, right? Reviews galore, but some maybe some skits that can give you a little chuckle here and there if you're into some slight ridiculous comedy.
For sure. Listen, Jason, the same way I have a back catalog, but I haven't done videos in a very long time. My focus is on the squad because you guys are just too good to be true sometimes, honestly. So I am very active on Instagram. I truly am. So please follow me on Instagram, ManaMovies96. But I must add this in as we had this conversation a little bit. I think when we had a little of a hangout outside of YouTube, I've got to return for Saw 10, just for Saw 10.
Hey,
You're obligated.
Oh my God, I would die.
Yes,
at least for Saw 10.
We've confirmed that there'll be a new Man of Movies and a new Jace video coming like soon.
And it will also be Chris Rock. I don't know what I want to do with my channel, and I really haven't put much thought into it. But I'm nonetheless, I'm coming back for Saw 10 just for completion. I'm a completionist. I need to complete my Saw series.
Yes.
So
Yes. Awesome.
I'll be back.
All right.
My friends, thank you so
You need
much
to talk
for
about
this.
Dan too, though.
And Dan.
Yeah.
Dan, you know what, bro? Sometimes you surprise me, man. You surprise me. Talk about your multitude of shorts, Dan.
Yes, I have. I've been getting into shorts. So usually after a 40x movie, you'll see shorts on my 40x stuff. I've been focusing on 40x stuff because that does really well for my channel, but I also love like answering questions for people. Like, is it worth it in 40x? So Indiana Jones, the full form video, long form video, whatever, will be out soon. And yeah, the short for Indiana Jones is out right now. And I just hope Jace gets a letterbox. And
And he curses sometimes.
yes, Jace
Inside joke.
Oh gosh, I wish we could go into detail on that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Well, Dan, I've been putting out a lot of shorts, man.
Yes.
Yes.
And I met Sean Gunn and Michael Rooker today. And
Oh yeah, so tell us what's going on in the next Guardians movie.
dang it. I was about to say I'm not supposed to say anything, but I'm going to be in the next Guardians movie.
Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, the new Gamora.
Oh, I thought he was the new Drax.
Oh yeah, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. So guys, thank you again for an incredible night. An incredible night of talking films with you, and that's pretty much it.
Yes.
That's pretty much it. See ya.
Bye, guys.
Till next time, movie fans.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.